wants in the fight. Second's gonna jump, the fight is gonna start, and then the cast into the ward.
He can get his ward off. He's not looking at a multiple stun lineup.
And I feel like regardless of what VG is picking up right now, Navi has the upper hand in late game. Regardless of what they pick up.
That Witch Doctor is probably the most underrated support.
Yeah.
It's so good. Such a good hero.
I mean, you have two tanky heroes that are really good in the late game as well as in both the Brewmaster and the War Runner. Then you of course have the Moon Rider, who's one of the strongest late game heroes, and then you have a Witch Doctor.
Yeah.
The support that when he gets the Scepter, he dishes out more damage than the Moon Rider.
It's insane.
I love the last pick. It's a really good one for Navi.
If you're talking about tank as well, his heal is ridiculous. That is going to be really something.
That's actually
the only reason I thought that Enigma might be a nice pick is because Glaives and Black Hole would have been nice for Luna to lock them down and just do a ton of damage, but I don't think it matters. You got Cask, you got Death Ward.
Oh yeah.
Forget about it.
Are you bothered at all about that? I mean, oh wow, okay.
The Razor last pick.
And we've seen it already.
So that's a Razor mid, and that's really good against the Brewmaster. We were talking about earlier, something to punish that Brewmaster on the middle lane.
This is going to be a good game.
It is.
I would favor Navi on the draft.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I predicted Vici to win this 2-1, but based off the draft, I think Navi can easily take this.
I agree.
Easy wins for me.
Alright, good stuff. We're going to go back to the commentary team for our third and final game in our first quarterfinal of the day. Take it away, Cinderin and Toby1.
Thank you very much, Paul. We are back here to do our third game of Navi vs VG Gaming, and potentially a point where Mark loses ESL Perfect Prediction Award.
Yeah, I think quite similar to the game number 2 we saw. Navi's just improved their drafting very much from game number 1, and it's, as we talked about in that game, it seemed like they were just trying something out, and now they're back to something more stable. I think both teams have really good drafts in this game. One thing I want to point out, though, from the get-go here is that Navi, as far as one thing I like commenting on whenever it's very relevant, like in a game like this, I think it's often very important to have multiple means of initiating a fight. And when you look over at Navi's lineup, you've got Telekinesis, you've got Blink Dagger Brewmaster, you've got Cask, and you've got Centaur with Stampede and or Blink Dagger and Hoofstomp, right? Mm-hmm. On VG Gaming, you have Burrow Strike and Burrow Strike, right? Unless you want to call...
You limit yourself a lot, yes.
Do you think... I wouldn't really call Viscous Nasal Goo an initiating tool, and you've got Concussive Shot, which hits like 1, maybe 2 targets if they stack, but it's really not reliable. And the problem is, I think VG Gaming's teamfight relies on an Epicenter coming off, so then FY can't open it for them. Yep. Technically, Elder Titan can also be an initiator with Astral Spirit into Echo Stomp, but the level these teams play on, they are really good at splitting up, yeah. You can follow through. Now, one thing VG Gaming is going to be really good at, and that I don't think they touched upon so much in the pre-match analysis, is how much harassment power VG Gaming actually has from a distance. Elder Titan with a high level of Natural Order and Astral Spirit together with Plasma Field can pretty much stop a push, just as 2 abilities combined. You have a frontliner Bristleback who will get the safe lane farm as it looks right now. Oh, maybe not. We'll see that in a moment. Also doing some significant damage when all the armor is gone from the enemies. And then even in addition to that, Skywrath Mage, if anyone gets caught out, there is the Mystic Flare, which will effectively deal pure damage if Astral Spirit is on top of the target, which is kind of scary. It's a 600 damage ability on level 1.
I almost want to put this game down to like kind of what the power set from Navi. Like when you put it all on paper, I think you got Centaur, we got a large amount of life points and an escape mechanism for everyone. You got Witch Doctor, who can make space with a Cask and give Voodoo Restoration and make space once the Death Ward also comes up in levels. You got Brewmaster, who can split and is also very tanky by nature. You got Rubik, who's giving magic resistance to everybody and also has pick up throwaways. Like he's got a lot of escape mechanisms. And that leaves your last one, the Luna, who's probably the most susceptible of the Navi lineup to dying, but if you can't get to a point of having some good lifesteal and Satanic, then you're also looking pretty good from that front. Where VG Gaming, the survivability isn't as great, but the point is they can kill a hell of a lot faster because of the combination with the Elder Titan. The Brewmaster ulti in the early stages is also quite useless. Mainly because of, like, once you're able to get a lot of stacks up on the quill stacks, then you're going to lose your Brewlings anyway, and that'll buy space for then Super to move around. He likes also the Brewlings because he can static link them directly, so he doesn't actually lose that static link either. So I really, as far as this goes, if VG Gaming get a good initiation off, if they get some good pickoffs, then Navi lose all their stability. But if Navi are able to get up in farm, up in levels, and get space in the early stages, then I don't see VG Gaming holding on to this game at all.
I think this one is really open. There's the 2 lineups excel at completely different things here, and depending on who gets the jump on their terms, they'll probably be in a really good position now. As far as the lanes go here from the get-go, we do have dual lane setups for Na'Vi with the Luna and Rubik bottom lane. Speaking of which, they might actually try to go for this one on Ice. This is going to be a lot of damage. He's pretty much out of position here.
The Spirit's going to drop, and he drags it back in. It's the movement speed he's looking for with a Lucent Beam, and the healing salve is enough. 11 life points he stays alive on.
And surprising for me, Havos didn't use his Lucent Beam early on. This has a 6-second cooldown. That could have been a first blood right there. If he Lucent Beams earlier, before they lift, he will have a secondary one, and that would have been a kill. So, a missed opportunity here for Na'Vi, and that's really important for Ice to stay alive through this. Now, he does not have any more regen, and the courier is in use, so he's pretty much stranded down here right now. But
he doesn't want to buy up regeneration either. This is a guy who wants to build into a bottle.
Or a soul ring.
Or a soul ring, but considering the way the runes have changed around, I think at this in this type of game, like a bottle would just be a lot better for him. Just to contest, at least. But this top lane too, it's kind of interesting to watch like the observer ward placement. This is a very, very early ward buying Funnick space, and now he's managed to find 3.5 levels from it. His CS is okay. He's still walking around at 5 for 0, so that's not amazing. But he'll know the second FY comes in at like a level 2 Burrow Strike. And even now, like FY, he just needs one. He doesn't need much experience at all, and he'll actually have enough to get that second level up in Sandstorm. And that's more important for him because then that's going to be stack farming for himself.
Yeah, this triple stack he already made for himself does have mud golems, but he can take the other 2 stacks at least. Yeah, he'll be going top here for the level 3, but overall, now Na'Vi has chosen to rotate down the Witch Doctor, which I'm a little bit surprised by. I think the Rubik and Luna had this lane under control, but perhaps they're going here to just push the tower. They're adding FNG to the mix for the additional pushing power. There is Basilius already up on Havost as well, and now they're going to dive behind the tower. This is a kill or a gank that Ice cannot in any way expect right now, but, well, maybe he can. Right, this hero is a legit late game carry as well. He's got great move speed. He hits incredibly hard.
His physical DPS goes through the roof, really.
It's insanely good.
That's why Warpath is so important to him, and he's about to crack his level 6 on this top lane. He's already got treads available. F1's also walking around. He's level 5 now, went 2-3 in the build, so not the extra point up at the Burrow Strike, because Sandstorm's just giving him so much more now. If there's an opening for a kill, he goes for it. They'll probably realize there is Observer Ward there, so it doesn't help him out, but he just stacks, he'll come back, he'll farm it up, and he'll get very, very close, while looks like Super is having some fun here with FNG.
Is so dead.
There's a Plasma Field level 1. One attack and Plasma Field it, or he doesn't care. He physical DPS's the FNG down, so that means you've got a lot of money now coming into Super. That goes towards the Buy Me a Mech fund. And I'm still looking at well, face boots as well. Did he actually buy face boots? Did he? Yeah, he bought face boots, and he also bought the headdress too. He can buy both.
Ice. He wanted that last hit really bad. He gets to pay for it.
And Luna gets the kill with a Lucent Beam.
Easy pickings. This new path here in the Radiant bottom lane just makes for some really interesting gank potentials, especially for a hero like Rubik, who can initiate from a pretty long distance and then toss back into the Luna there. Very nice kill here from Na'Vi.
Yeah, with the old school. Well, Brewmaster Split's being used here in the middle lane. They're searching for Super. They'll get the first one off. FNG's going to lend the paralyzing cask as well. Super, not enough life points. Phase boots. If he set up in towards the air, which takes away his movement speed, but they've got enough damage. They're deep behind the tower, but Super does go down. Brewmaster back into his normal self. And FY was searching for some kind of extra space here. The Van scores out to hold him out with a telekinesis, but Denny, he triggers DD rune. But they don't really have a way. Sentry Wall, bouncing cast. Fire Strike, you'll get himself away from Funnick. The cast followed him up. The courier's actually coming in the middle of this now. Concussive shot. Throwing out there with the extra seal and ice. Funnick, you'll get the hoof stomp off. FY seeing very, very close there. Takes the double-edged damage.
On Black. He is really far in as well. Wow.
Yeah, but with an Nasal Goo, another concussive shot going out, slowing down Denny with 2 orb attacks. The Spirit, Dandy, now you see how much damage can come his way. 150, FNG low on life too. Both of these heroes will be forced back. But Avos is pushing the tier 1 tower solo, and he's dishing out a lot of damage down here. And they have no fortification.
Oh, that was a lot of aggression from both sides there. Funnick diving really deep with the center, and then suddenly Black almost died as well on his bristleback. Both teams are definitely not playing it safe, considering that this is a game 3 and the deciding game for both of them of whether they proceed in the tournament or not. So it's good to see all this aggression coming out. I would say in this particular instance, probably Na'Vi coming out with a better trade because they got the tier 1, and we're gonna see a Midas on host here after the treads. So aiming for a late game Luna build here.
It's kind of dangerous when you've just got an 8-minute blink dagger over on a Sand King.
He's very, very easy to kill right now on that Luna.
Yep. This is why I thought something more like a bracer at least, so we can go into the drum kind of build. But at the same time, like, if you never see the initiation come out from VG Gaming, then you're fine. And in fact, it's Na'Vi who are the ones trying to initiate. They smoke gank over on FNG as well as Vanskor, searching for an opening. They have the Observer Ward down. Super has his own, so he'll feel a little bit more confident about that lane. But at the same time, it looks like FY as well as Fenrir have exactly the same thought. And we'll see who can get the pick off. But it's definitely not going to be on Super. He is massively defensively moving down and away from the rest of Na'Vi.
Yeah, this gank is... It's pretty obvious that there's a gank happening from Na'Vi. Now, they don't know where it's happening, but the way with what VG Gaming are seeing on the lanes right now, they're assuming that it's mid, which is obviously completely correct here. So this gank is not gonna bring anything with it for Na'Vi. Essentially, a lot of time wasted. At the same time, VG is just farming both bottom and top lane. Now, Ice is going to get his level 6 in a moment. I am curious to see whether he goes for the 0440 build, which is more or less the standard. But sometimes we've seen, I believe it's Universe, who started to get a point in Echo Stomp a little bit earlier, for example. And I think VG Gaming's lineup could really benefit from having another stun.
It's just adding that little bit of extra earlier control, which you're probably not always expecting, as in the enemies of the Elder Titan. But he does hit his level 6 and he sticks with the 033 build.
Radiant's bottom
and FNG's moving down. With the Blink Dagger, they know. Concussive shot, Epicenter as well being channeled, but the ulti is up from the Centaur. FNG just runs himself away, and now FY moves up through the tree line. The bouncing cast's going to come in with the trees on the side, then he just claps, and the losing beam from a Vost ensures another quick kill coming their way. As I'm hearing, actually, yeah, they're just happy with the kill for the moment, and VG Gaming do back up. But you're still getting a super where the DD rune is very, very close to finishing up that mech. And Black is still free farming up top. Going for a bit of a... he's got a Vit boost as well as a cloak early on.
This is a good call from Super. They know that Stampede is down. It was just used, so he can go up here and start putting a lot of pressure, knowing that Funny can't really initiate on them. I don't know if the follow-up damage here from VG Game is going to be enough to bring down this tower, but did Dendy TP to that bot lane? I think he did. So the Brewmaster will not be able to reinforce the top lane, and this might just turn out to be a destroyed tower here for VG Game.
Yeah. But the difference is between this tower as well as what Na'Vi did before is the fact that Na'Vi actually had the VG Gaming didn't have fortification to defend their bottom tier 1 tower. Where this time around Na'Vi will use it and delay it up. And this buys some time to do some damage into the tier 1 tower of VG Gaming. The Spirit from the other Titan though is forcing him straight back. So it will be a tower going the way of VG Gaming, but Na'Vi gets some return damage into the tier 1 in mid.
And if you remember in game number 1 when we were casting the, what was it, the Undying getting the Crimson Guard?
Yep.
We weren't sure if that was a good Crimson Guard game. This is an amazing Crimson Guard game for Black. I think he has to get it here. He should finish the Vanguard now. He's just waiting for the ring. He's getting it now. The Crimson Guard, of course, the 50 damage block for 9 seconds against Luna's Glaives, the Death Ward, Brewmaster's Split. It's just... it's perhaps the highest value item VG Gaming can get for their money for the entire first 30 minutes of the game, together with the mech on Razor. If VG Gaming get both those items, I think Navi's going to struggle to teamfight, because they're going to have to do all their damage magically, which is not... They have magic damage, don't get me wrong, but a big part of Luna's teamfight presence in the mid-game is not just the Eclipse, but that the Glaives start dealing significant damage, and with a Crimson Guard you just don't care. The bounces will actually deal like 0.
Fender and FY just made the best decision they ever could have made. They went in the one vision gap of Na'Vi's warding inside their jungle before they went for any kind of smoke movement.
Oh yeah, just a small correction, it doesn't work on the Death Ward. Thank you, Twitch chat. Yeah, the Death Ward ignores this the Vanguard damage block, and the Crimson Guard block too, so that's a good point. But it's still very, very good against Luna and Brew, and it doesn't change the fact that it's amazing here. But true, it's not as good as I said, but still amazing. So
this is not a fight the VG Gaming want to take. The smoke's going to break on FY, which means he knows that someone's in the tree line, but there's 5 heroes. They're jumping in on Super. Where is our epicenter from FY? He's got to actually start channeling it in the back end of play. Super still alive. The mech charge gets him up, and the telekinesis from Vanskor. It stopped the hit, but then again, he's still getting Burrow Striked off, and the ulti from Luna is well off target. The allows for a blink away by FY. The Brewmaster can't keep up with him. The Bristleback will be sent up towards the air, but Fenrir is now the one being chased down, Funny right in the back of him. The Spirit will be dropping both the Voss and FNG down below half of their life points. But with all of that, it was still a 1-1 trade-off. And that was Centaur ulti, that was Eclipse, and that was Brewmaster split, all committed to try and go for that kill.
I think Na'Vi should be happy getting a 1-for-1 when they completely whiffed the Eclipse. It hit nothing. The Vici Gaming heroes backed out at the right time. Na'Vi also had to use the Stampede, or they used Stampede in a kind of awkward way. It didn't seem like they were completely decided on whether they wanted to initiate or disengage with it, and they kind of got a little bit of both out of it. And well, with that spell usage, getting a 1-for-1 here from Na'Vi I think is okay. They used the split to try to get in on Super, who has the mech. I don't know if Dendi had seen that at that point. So
we're going again, man.
Yeah.
The Sentry went down from Vanskor because he wasn't sure about it. FY and Sides have the high ground here, but a Spirit into a Burrow Strike, they made us do it anyway. Burrow Strike, there's the 2 in the Spirit, and then Subaru with a Plasma Field. Vanskor loses life so quickly. Sides got bonus 172 damage on this guy. They will take 3 heroes from Na'Vi on the high ground, and VG Gaming, a huge advantage coming their way with those kills, and they'll look to the tier 1 tower and they'll claim it.
Plasma Field hits so incredibly hard. To put things in perspective, if there's a natural order on the targets that Super hits with a level 4 Plasma Field on max range, they all take about the same damage as they would getting hit by Laguna Blade. So, that is pretty insane. It's 370 max damage on the Plasma Field at the max radius. It's currently only level 3, and you saw how hard that hit right there.
Yeah.
If that's a level 4, 370 damage after reduction, that's sick. And it's what I was talking about earlier, how Vici Gaming will easily be able to clear waves, and it's going to be a problem for Na'Vi when they want to try to push lanes, because Elder Titan and Razor can just hold. It's going to be absolutely no problem for them with all the damage they have between those 2 abilities combined, and Na'Vi's heroes will just be tanking way too much damage if they try to push.
That's true how much space Na'Vi has been trying to give to FNG. Like, he's come back for both the fights, but they gave him space in the bottom lane to try and find levels. Now they give him space on top, but FY just goes for the solo kill, and there's no way Evolves can stop this. Then again, Restoration, 1 charges, he's in a Sandstorm, and hiding for now. He doesn't have enough mana for another jump. He's only got one charge up his sleeve. But it does mean the epicenter gets blown. But FNG, he survives. Burns through a lot of mana to restore himself up. FY, Dendi, he clapped before he blinked. I don't know if that was just meant to bring down the creep wave, however, but he could have gone after FY. Either way, Fenrir now in towards the middle lane. Let's see Vanskor. Gunshot doesn't slow him down. With the time that Vanskor, he didn't throw him away far enough. In fact, he walked back in the Super.
Okay,
and they've used the Stampede to try and get him out.
That last shot from Razor was like 1,000 range when it hit. Of course, it only matters when you start the animation. Even with Rubik running that far, it still doesn't cancel. So, yeah, we've got ourselves a tower trade. Na'Vi will get top, Vici getting bottom, so that's even. Black did indeed choose to go for the Crimson Guard here. I'm very curious to see that in play. It's still an item that I feel like the pro scene hasn't, it's still very new, the whole version and everything, so I think it's probably getting picked up less than it should because the teams aren't necessarily considering it often enough because you need to get used to all these new changes, but I'm imagining this Crimson Guard is going to make a really big difference in this game for Vici Gaming. They have, in my book, easily the upper hand in teamfights right now. And I'm saying that against a lineup that has Luna, Brew, and Centaur. But the fact is, if they just land their abilities correctly and get the damage done, then the Crimson Guard is going to mitigate whatever Na'Vi have to throw back at them, or at least enough that with the Mech and Crimson Guard combined, they probably won't die on the heroes.
I want to flag something interesting. Like you talk about getting used to the new changes. Most teams got used to running double bottles. VG Gaming don't have a single bottle on their lineup.
Yeah, that's very unusual. Especially when you're a hero like Razor mid. Now, what Super did do in this game was he maxed out Static Link in the lane. He went 0-3-2 build in the early levels, and if you don't have Plasma Field, it's very hard to contest runes because you don't push out the lane that well.
Yeah.
So maybe that was the reasoning. He felt like he didn't need the mana from the bottle anyway, so I get it. And with that reasoning, it makes a lot of sense, but you're right. A game without a bottle on one team is actually very, very rare these days.
And because of that, like, they're not having the full regeneration on the front lines, but maybe you just don't care for now because you've still got your arcane boots over on the Skywrath Mage. Your lineup's not heavily mana intensive, so you're okay on that front. Sentry Ward and D-Warding from FY, he's going to be quick about that. He thought he was going to be jumped on, but man, VG Gaming, like Isis is still revealing himself on the bottom lane, so it's very difficult to work out what VG Gaming are properly up to, and Na'Vi can't commit to it either, because what are they going to do? Like jump across the river into that? They can find themselves in a lot of trouble in a perfect positioned SK if they're not careful. And the ping finally came out there from Rubik, just saying, I think something is really going on here, boys. And they're actually stopping halfway through. I hope if they just need a breather.
Yeah, well, they're not feeling comfortable with the situation right now, Na'Vi, but there's a lot of Vici Gaming heroes missing right now, so they could also be ganking, and Na'Vi are just contemplating what could be going on right here. I think it's going to become pretty obvious now in a moment that, okay, this has taken so long that it must be Roche, and they're giving it up. They can't fight this right now, I think.
Yeah.
Luna got the BKB, but it was a little bit too late. With that, this fight could have maybe happened on their terms, but yeah, she picked it up 30 seconds too late for them to be able to take the fight at the Roche here. So it's going to be an Aegis on the Bristleback. I thought they might have chosen to give that to the Razor, even the Elder Titan, but this means Black can play incredibly aggressively now in these fights. He doesn't have to care about anything at all, actually.
It's that ultimate survivability, but it's beyond that. It's Black going to the front line saying, please throw everything you have at me, then it can trigger, then I come back to life again, and going to cause you a world of pain.
And one thing we have to consider right now with Ice 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 going for this Hand of Midas build is he could turn into a semi-carry himself. I'm curious to see if he tries to go for the new Aghanims upgrade, which gives a disarm to the ultimate and makes it last another second, or if he's looking for the more traditional items such as, well, the mech is taken, maybe he gets a pipe for the team, he could get something like a Hex or a Shiva's Guard, or if he just goes hard hitter and gets a crit at some point. I'd like to see that.
A crit on an ET.
Hits really hard.
Well, he does. There's no doubting that. What was it? Brewmaster ends up going down the bottom lane. Looks like Fenrir, Ulti, and Epicenter both being committed. And of course, Vanskor won't get there in time to help him out. They're already bailing out of here.
Yeah, Na'Vi poured it down here with a little bit too late on that. And that's one thing that Sand King and Skywrath are incredible at combined. They can pretty much kill every single hero in the game, even like 30 minutes in. If you combine Epicenter with the Mystic Flare and the, what's it called, Ancient Seal again, the burst damage is just incredible. Even a BKB carry like Luna will actually die before she can get BKB off if the Epi is channeled before the blink's done. So there's a lot of potential there. Na'Vi is starting to lose control of the map as well, and that's kind of an issue here. They have one ward out in the mid, but apart from that, Vici Gaming are they're invading their jungle right now, and Na'Vi they're pulling out. So it's pretty easy to see who's in control of the game at this point.
Smart little move there by Ice Ice Ice. They didn't get vision over on Havorst, but they did check out some vision on FNG. So when they were doing the dewarding, they put a Spirit down here just so they would be capable of doing the blink to Burrow Strike and get themselves a follow-up kill straight away if anyone tried to come down and contest them. And who picked up the 4-star? It's just ET?
Yeah. I was not expecting that from the Elder Sign. It's a great item on pretty much.
Oh, Na'Vi, they're looping. They're looping. Ice Ice Ice, the Spirit actually runs through two of them already. They'll trigger the Olive, then the Plasma Field of Vorce triggers his BKB. Dendy, he's already low on life. Fenrir, he's got to turn, seal him up. Mystic Flare not available because he gets full stomped up. Vorce triggers the Olive, but Fenrir is the only one who really takes damage from it. Dendy on 232 life points. He'll have to come back in, but the ET splitter, it picked up the Witch Doctor, it picked up the Rubik. So the cores are still left here, and the Brewlings, they won't survive long. Before the Fire Brewling low on life. It's just Centaur as well as Dendy. Funnick and Dendy running themselves away. They're sticking with the Earth Brewling. They'll send the Bristle up in towards the air. And Ice 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 attempting to stop the Burrow Strike. They waited him out perfectly. And Brewmaster not splitting up. 4 heroes for the price of 1. And they blew every ulti they had apart from Death Ward. Because the ET splitter from Ice 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 was perfect through the tree line.
Yeah, that was such a good initiation again from Vici Gaming, and the absolute crucial thing is getting the Ancient Seal on the Brewmaster. It wasn't really initiation from Vici, it was Na'Vi initiating pretty poorly, to be honest. The smoke broke, and then they still pursued through. They used the BKB on Luna on half health together with a Stampede, and they didn't even catch up from that. So 2 of the really important things for the team fight were kind of thrown out the window before it even started, and Vici Gaming just kited them around and then easily cleaned them up at the end, so making quick work of that fight, and they got themselves about a 5,000 additional golden experience lead in that one swoop here. So we're now on the 10k mark.
That's pretty fun, man.
For Na'Vi right now.
Even look at FY's money. Look at FY's money. He's got 3.2k gold on a Sand King. What is he buying with this?
A house. Oh, Dendy.
He jumps in, but I think he came for the creep camp, but ended up just having FY Burrow Strike underneath him. He'll still take the 2 big creeps here. So that's still worth his time traveling, but the BKB is now fully done for Super. And they'll just keep on working through the rest of their items. Also a bit of a casual headdress coming up on a Skywrath, even though Super's already picked up the full mech.
Yeah, they're probably looking for a pipe as well to just, like, if you have a team in the mid game, like around the 25 to 30 minute mark, and you have mech, pipe, and Crimson Guard, like, can fight you if the enemy team doesn't have the same. You're gonna have to, if you're Na'Vi, you're gonna have to try to bait out those, reset, and then reinitiate. Or you need to get one hell of a burst off in the start of the fight, so you take out a key target while it's stunned. One of the ones that have the mech pipe or the Crimson Guard.
Let's pick up a second Force Staff. That one belongs to the SK. And if they jump up right now, Super will come up and a Force will be visible. Concussive Shot's already flying with the Spirit on top of a Force. He's slowed down, but there's just no follow-up damage. And then again, when you can stop and hold a Force in position, the Aegis gets fully reclaimed. So that advantage no longer belongs. But this ancient area, I don't know if Na'Vi even want to try and contest this. Especially when Black's about to pick up a Halberd. He's been working through these items really, really quickly. When you're 101 and 134 CS, you would think you would do such a thing. But Luna, hilariously enough, a Vost, he's 2-1-2 on the board, and he has the highest net worth across the board too.
It's the Midas factor.
But you've also got like Midas over another Titan too.
Yeah, which is why he's actually doing really well considering how hard the lane was for him in the start, but Isis has recovered very nicely. He's currently 4th in the net worth, only behind Luna, as you said, Razor, and the Bristleback. And the problem for Na'Vi right now is that they're gonna be
So that's probably the extra insurance they want before they go high ground, having the Aegis on one of these heroes. Either that or they're just confident enough when you're, 17,000 net worth in front and about 15,000 worth of experience in front, you just pop up the hill.
Yeah, it's gonna be, wait, what's playing out? Is that the pipe? No, it's an urn for Fenrir. So he just got the headdress, actually. Kind of a very rare pickup to see just isolated, but BKB for Super.
I don't know if that was meant to be a misclick or not, but he is TPing up towards the top lane anyway. He couldn't have TP'd where he was because Luna was so close, she would have just loose and beamed him. But that's a very unusual reason to use a 9-second BKB as opposed to walk into the tree line first.
I think he might have also been nervous that the Centaur was going to initiate on him. His team was kind of far away, I think, but... Well, regardless, Visha Gaming are just going to keep controlling this. I like this a lot from Na'Vi. They forced out a BKB. It might not be the biggest deal, but just the fact that they get some sort of edge is going to put them on the offensive here. Black!
Yeah, he goes down quickly. No, he doesn't. Force stuff up. He gets the guard off. The Brewmaster split will happen. Black, he's only just barely alive. Now he does go down, but they're committed a lot to kill him off anyway. Fenrir needs a moment while we are spinning up in the air. We will need a moment before we come back down to earth. This is not the position where you want to have a quick pause, as they are slightly out of position. But Na'Vi still expected a hell of a lot. They used BKB during that one. Okay, so Sand King. I was wondering why he was sitting up in the tree line.
Really far away from the fight.
Yeah, he burrow striked into the jungle to start his farming up. But yeah, he's just so far away, so he DC's out now. But the second we see Elder Titan hit the ground, I'm still not 100% certain that they can kill him off. It's full life for the Sand King. You've got a Razor on his way, and he's still got the mech available as well by the looks of it. And he's got Static Link, Eye of the Storm, Plasma Field, and of course, this BKB. It is a 7-second duration BKB. He's only been through like 1.5 seconds of it. But it's still going to be a rough time.
He's been through more, hasn't he? Oh, never mind. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's just on the countdown. It's through that.
Yeah.
But Funnick is also waiting here with what looks... That's not even 2 seconds. That's like 1 second and 0.1113 recurring, of course.
Yeah, if they drop down this Elder Titan, I think he's going to get burst down. He is definitely going to die. And...
See, but with the mech charge, and he does have the spirit inside of him at the moment. I'm not a certain man.
I don't think his movement speed matters at this point. He's going to get blown up. He's not going to be able to move here, I think. There's a boulder toss in 2 seconds. They're going to drop him down, boulder toss, then they're going to hoof stomp double edge, and Luna's going to attack him. There's no way he lives through this, I think. And he needs to die for Na'Vi to call this a successful fight. It's not enough that they
Fenrir is coming in too. See, alright, if they commit for this, then I think they're going to end up losing out in Avorst. Because Super's just going to end up killing Avorst if they commit to kill off the Elder Titan.
Probably.
But it's their only choice. Like, if Centaur picks up a double hoof stomp, then the fight belongs to Na'Vi. But Funnick, like, he doesn't have a stun right now. Vanskor can get up there, but it's still a walking Rubik. This guy doesn't have Force Stuff, he doesn't have Blink Dagger. We're 30 minutes into the game, so there's no quick maneuverability coming up from the support heroes of Na'Vi to allow them the space to fight this. And with that mech from Super and Skywrath Mage coming in with a level 2 Mystic Flare, he's also got the potential to seal up any of these heroes when they jump in. I don't think this is... It looks good and easy for Na'Vi right now, but I don't think it is going to be exactly that.
No, it's pretty hard to call the outcome of this. Even if they do manage to burst down the Elder Titan, like you said, there's a big chance of taking casualties as well, depending on FY here when he does come back into the game. So we just got word that they're rebooting his PC, so it's probably going to be another about 2 minutes for that. Yeah, well, I mean, looking at this fight right now, I was saying Na'Vi definitely needs another kill before they can call this a success, because the fact is they managed to bring down Black, which is fine, but they've committed so hard into this that they need more than that. Getting 1 kill off of using BKB Eclipse, Brewmaster Ultimate, Stampede,
Death Ward,
and Big Boy's back, then you can't be happy with that. It's not enough. Because you know Vici Gaming are just going to respawn the Bristleback, they're going to go down, they're going to take Roshan, and Na'Vi cannot fight that with what they have right now. It's absolutely impossible. So that's another thing that Vici has got going for them in this game, I think. They're less dependent on their long cooldown ultimates. When Na'Vis are used, Vici Gaming can, in theory, buy back and take an objective, or such as Roshan, or maybe even a tier 3 later on in the game if that becomes relevant. And on the contrary, what do Vici Gaming have that are long cooldowns? They've got Earth Splitter, which has been quite useful like once or twice, but not absolutely mandatory to take the fights. The cooldown on Mystic Flare is so low that it doesn't matter. It's kind of the same story for Out the Storm 1 minute. And the Epicenter, how many Epicenters have we even seen in this game?
Alright, we're going again.
Like we've seen like 1 or 2, and they haven't been.
He got interrupted a couple of times, but the fight's about to start up again, so we'll jump back in with Elder Titan. He'll come down to the deck straight away, and they just instantly disengage. The Brewlings are left behind us, done over on Super. But they are getting the hell out of dodge at the same time. FY will not allow. He burrow strikes through Funnick. More support has to arrive, but they got Denny caught inside the... you blink up. There was no extra attack to actually stop that blink dagger. So I thought he might have been caught inside the river, but not to be the case. So yeah, Na'Vi, they just backed the hell out of there. They did not want to try and battle up against that ET. And because of this now too, Ice, this guy's only like 800 gold away from a Scythe of Vice.
Yeah, this is a free Roche in my book. I think Vici can just go and take it. There's absolutely no way Na'Vi can deal with it. And they already saw Roshan is up. They sent an Astral Spirit from Ice. I think they're going to push out the lanes first, just get control of that, and then go and take it when they have full vision of the area right now. So we'll see. Oh, FY is certainly getting in position. No, never mind. Just playing up the high ground.
Getting into 3 different positions at the same time.
Just checking for the ward here. And there is indeed coverage in the area for Na'Vi, but Vici Gaming doesn't know it's there. It's pretty unlikely that FY goes over and scouts there. Right? Wait,
He
maybe,
is-
yeah, he's gonna go with it.
But it'll be a very, very thorough SK if he's checking over on that side.
Oh, they still see it because of the gem range here, and Fenrir is going to counter-ward it. And here we go for Roche. There is no chance for Na'Vi to defend this. So now the question is, after this, like, where do we go with your Vici? Do they finish up the Hex on Ice before they go high ground? Are there other crucial items? Or do they feel like they're in a good enough position to just start sieging the base here? I think they have what
With
it
the death
takes.
of Roshan, Ice only needs one camp, and he has the side device.
He's probably just going to take the mid wave
Funnick.
right now.
Oh, Funnick. Really? If his timing is right, if he ran down there straight away, he could have had a crack at it, but they'll move back to Ice. And he's watching him. He had the Invis rune. And there was actually no sentry wards, just the gem from the SK. Well, Funnick didn't want to try and play with that kind of fire. But Vici Gaming, for me, it would just be a top lane push. When they have the side device up right now, they could just go through bottom lane or through mid. But at the same time, I don't think Na'Vi want to fight outside the base. If they try and stop them from taking a tier 2 tower, they'll heavily lose that fight, because it's just an unfavorable map position for them.
Yeah, trying to go for a split now seems like the better choice, like Vost is doing right now. His damage is not that significant yet with the Manta style, but when he gets his next item, which will definitely be a damage item, probably a butterfly, that's when he can start taking fights and can be much more of a serious threat in these fights to Vici Gaming. However, the problem still remains, he will still be a split damage carry at that point. And if there's two heroes that don't really care about that split chip damage, it's Bristleback and Razor. So the problem for Na'Vi is still going to be the same, even after he picks up the first damage item. I think if we're looking at the potential for Na'Vi to come back and win this game, Hovos needs to be 6 slotted. I don't think there's any way around it right now. It's 6 slots, and one of them might need to be even a crit so that he can hit really hard on a single target, because else... It's hard to imagine them killing out the Bristle. Like... 2,000 health in an Aegis and a Crimson Guard? And he has 4k gold as well, so if he builds a heart now, Black is going to be immortal. Like, there is just...
You wouldn't look to
not enough damage on
to
that
finish
side.
the pipe for their team?
It's still a possibility, but I think we're reaching that point in the game when Pipe kind of starts falling off quite a lot, and he could get bigger items and just make himself really tanky. And there it is. He's going to get BKB instead. I think this is a better choice, and I think they should just be getting this on their heroes instead of the Pipe. Could also see Elder Titan getting BKB next. He has damage already, so if he can just run in with BKB on, he can hit hard.
Oh, for now, Vici Gaming, they're pushed in the middle lane. The bottom lane's having a bit of a push for Na'Vi though. Primarily because, again, you got now Vanscore and Dendy down here pushing this out. But Dendy, well, and Vanscore, they both have to TP themselves out, because Vici Gaming, they're coming high ground. The Aghanim's Razor is already beating into the tier 3 tower. Fortification, not being used yet. They're in fact just going to use their Cask and Hand of Miasis. FY is keeping his distance for the moment, and now there's that BKB. Flying on the Courier, FY. Oh, I thought for a moment, maybe Mias were playing tricks on me. I thought he was going to actually make that bit of a pounce.
They don't want to glyph this at all, or what?
I know, they're just letting it go.
They just gave a tier 3 on a range strikes without even trying.
Maybe they just don't believe they can take the fight.
Well, then they still want to try to glyph to at least stall out and maybe get some sort of an advantage based on a mistake from Vici Gaming, but if you don't even try, they're just going to be like, okay, cool. Next lane, I guess.
Just back it up, try again later on.
Almost refresher orb now on Super.
Yeah.
That's probably going to spell the end of Na'Vi space if they don't get a perfect initiation and shut him down.
They're coming out, man.
Double ult with 15 seconds of BKB from Super. They cannot stop that.
They're going to try and
Just
smoke
impossible.
gank and find anybody they possibly can, but at the same time, VG Gaming, they could just group up and do whatever the hell they want to. They know how powerful they are. Unless Na'Vi basically come as 5, like the best advantage they might have is 5 on 4, because everyone's just so close. FY, I think, is the only person who's been the straggler on the rest of his team, but he's only a blink and burrow away when times get really rough. So they use a Vorst as bait. But VG Gaming don't care. They don't care about killing off a Vorst right now. The only thing they care about is taking a secondary Rax. And they're already looking up towards the high ground. Black shows himself. FNG's the only one here with Malediction as well as a paralyzing cask. They stomp up. They did manage to slow down FNG. And then, well, with an extra follow-up stuff, but Black still got this Aegis the Immortal. He's forcing the issue. He wants his Aegis to trigger. A quick reincarnation for him and he's good to go. Actually, how long has he got left on that? Like, he's still got another minute and a bit. So not long.
Yeah, they're gonna use it now on this wave. thing. Just go in, force out the response from Na'Vi, and then when he comes back to life, he can BKB.
Refresh is up.
Yeah.
It's on the courier right now.
Oh, they're going to go right now. This is probably going to be the end of the game right here unless Na'Vi pull out some sort of miracle play.
Well, let's see how it goes. Already Black, low on life, so the Aegis Simol is going to trigger now. Funnick jumps in, went for the hooks off a super. He got the BKB off. Starts his ultimate already. Remember, he's going to have a secondary BKB. The easy split up. Completely wafted, but the damage from Super. He just has a full-on crack at it. And this is going to be Death Ward forcing Black out a little bit more, but the Burrow Strike from onto FNG from FY already stops this one up, and Black triggers his own BKB. Super's already just let the Refresher Orb go, and the second ulti is up and running. And now back up, they trigger Crimson Guard. But with the buyback coming up from the Rubik, they decide just to play it safe. This is still a single elimination bracket. And if they do end up losing a big fight right now, they give a good advantage over to Na'Vi. But right now, I doubt VG Gaming could lose a big fight unless they made some horrendous mistake.
We're at that point where they kind of need to throw 2 or 3 fights in a row. Even in the new version, this is still such a massive lead at this point. Now, Na'Vi, once again, I feel like are doing the right thing here. That was a pretty okay defense, all things considered. They only lost Vanscore, who did have to buy back, but they still salvaged their barracks, and now they can maybe try to look for an aggressive play. They know there's the Refresher Orb was used by Super. He currently only has 1 ultimate.
That's true. But you still have Epicenter up and running. And
I don't know.
It's also the ET splitters on cooldown for too long. And they're looking to defend. The BKB is up. Vanscore sitting in the tree line. Well, they did manage to pick up the Skywrath Mage, but now Dandy turn into a Piglet. He'll get Burrow Striked up the plasma field damage, and Dandy's down. He never got the split off. And maybe Black. Well, Avos turns for his Eclipse. He does BKB up here, but Super, he's able to pick up just into that poor little escaping Witch Doctor. And there's 2 heroes down. The Brewmaster, he doesn't have buyback. He's short by 93 gold, Dendy. And this will be VG's push for mid-ranks. They still actually haven't claimed a melee ranks in all this time. They took the range one up on top. But they're going to take a melee ranks right now.
And Kvos is doing whatever he can to get some sort of sizable farm here, but he'll have to go back and defend once again. He doesn't have a TP. He needs to be in that mid lane for this push to come now, but I think at this point Na'Vi will definitely be losing the range barracks here in the mid lane. The question is, can they hold the melee once again? Good telekinesis. Actually gonna try here on Super.
I'm not sure about this, but then again, Avos is a lot of him. The bouncing glaives, they've already got the kill over on the Rubik. They're buying time for Danny, but they've lost Avos. He's down the tier 3 tower. And he's down for 74 seconds. That is a long time. FNG letting the ulti go with the Hawk Stomp. They might kill off Super. In comes FY. Super does go down. But the Revenge Killer's there instantly. Now they move over to Funnick. The Ghost protecting him from Black. With a physical DPS, he's plus 250 over on the Bristleback. The Brewlings, they're there to try and slow down
nice
the body block from Dandy. But will it really be enough? He'll send at least eyes up into the air. But Black, he stands his ground. He just keeps running away right now. He's got enough immunity. 4-staff down. Now Danny back out of Brewmaster form. Will be dropped down by the Skywrath ulti. And VG Gaming will enter the Na'Vi base and claim the middle ranks 100%. But how much more will they claim? Time will tell.
Yeah, they'll definitely get the top melee as well. I'm imagining they'll take that and then back off. Just play it safe here and not get too much in over their heads. Or maybe they're just gonna...
They're splitting. Ice will take the top, and the rest of them will move bottom lane. Super Salty's off cooldown in 4 seconds time, and he has Refresher off cooldown. So we got double BKBs, double Eye of the Storms. The buyback comes from Centaur and Super. Well, he already turns on the first Eye of the Storm. Refresher up, second Eye of the Storm. These towers are going to melt. Not to mention the heroes. Poor little Vanscore. A Grand Magus was never designed for this kind of power and wear and tear. Funnick, he tried to use a Stampede, but he is gone. They've lost the 2. The TPs are coming back in again. FNG, he melts in the lining. Avos tries to battle up against Super. It's good bouncing glaives. Black actually working against his teammates with the Malediction. There's your loser beam. Avos to pick up a double kill. They push Ice back. They need to get close towards him. 4-staff up. Puts the Spirit behind him. And Fenrir is also on the run. Mystic Flare is off cooldown. The Lucid Beam tries to slow him down. In middle lane, the SK still keeping that pressure on. In fact, I think he's looking for an extra pick-off over an FNG. He won't catch it. Fenrir, elusive beam. Dendy still not close enough. Blink dagger. 2 seconds. 1 second. Then he can jump. The stomp though. Try and be in the right position. And Dendy drunken haze. They'll turn the damage on Ice is plus 168 on him. Dendy the BKB into the clamp. The Eclipse as well. They'll pick up Fenrir. They need another stun. And they've got it. Ice will go down. Evolve to pick up a double kill by the epicenter. On the way in from the SK. There's nowhere near enough damage to get a kill. He'll force up away. He's sticking on the run after Revolve at the moment. FY, some confidence. He's still walking around with a gem too. There's no support from his teammates. He blinks up. He's got Bow Strike again. FY is just going to play Blood Mode. He goes into Invis, and they actually bait the Brewmaster split. They'll try and drag him out. The stun to FY. They should be able to pick up this kill. Na'Vi, they actually drag back a whole bunch.
Centaur Witch
Centaur,
Doctor.
Rubik, and
Centaur Witch Doctor, okay. That was a really good defense. I thought the game was definitely going to end there, but Na'Vi played it very well inside their own base. They delayed the fight as much as possible for Voss to get the 2 kills he got inside the base, and then the pursuit there from Denden
How much
was
money
really good.
Voss picked up? He got a full butterfly and still has 3.8k. This guy can almost buy a Satanic.
Yeah, I don't think he should though. I think this is when you go full damage. They still...
If you're going full damage, then you're going Rapier,
Yeah,
which
I
means
think
he picks up a Relic.
Rapier or Daedalus right now would be my choice. I think if he gets Satanic, the game is over. Because the next push that's coming from Vici Gaming, the tier 3 tower bottom is really low on health. Yes, they do have Glyph, but when there's 2 Eyes of the Storm running and Super almost has a heart, then... Or does he? No, he only has the Vitality booster.
Voss just sold something.
2.6k health still.
How much does he fully need for a Rapier? He's at 5.3k right now.
I think he's definitely going for it. It is Voss, so...
Yeah, this is... He buys a TP scroll to come
He's
back.
1k off. He might be able to make this, but unfortunately the lane he's pushing top has mega melee creeps and range creeps, so there's not that much gold to be gained here.
Yeah, the primary thing would just be pushing towards the tier 2 tower, and then just leaving his illusions to keep the pressure up, and he farms up the Dire Jungle. TPs himself back in, but if he's really going to go for this Courier needs to be sitting on top of the secret shop, because he's going to need it quickly. Now Roshan does go the way of VG Gaming. This is Aegis and Cheese. Ice, the man with the cheese. The Aegis immortal again, it is given to the Bristleback, but this is a Bristleback with he's got 31 armor. It's a lot of armor on this guy. Voss
Didn't even glyph that tower.
He took the tower. Why wouldn't you glyph?
That's kind of weird. This is
Maybe they weren't
pretty
ready
much
for it.
handing over a rapier to him right now if he wants to buy it. 200 gold off getting the last hit on that.
He just picked something up.
What's that?
Picked something up. It's a Satanic. He bought a Satanic. The recipe is a Satanic.
I do not agree with this choice. I think it's way too...
I don't think the crowd agrees either.
That's what I'm booing here.
We're back behind the stage of these guys, and we still hear them boo from this side.
I think you need to go crazy here.
Yeah,
with the Luna. There is no other way. In normal game situations, this would definitely be the right pickup. Like Satanic after Butterfly is pretty
It's
much
not even actually
textbook,
committing to the Satanic. It's making sure he's got enough money for a buyback.
Yeah.
Because if he was committing to the Satanic, he'd have it right now. But he doesn't. So they hold back. They're just going to try and, again, come out on top of the fight. Maybe they got enough confidence after that last engagement. They feel they can do this again. But Black, okay, there's the problem. There is a big problem. Those glaives are bouncing back and forward on the catapult, which is also amplifying the damage into the Bristleback. It is a wonderful action pose, however. But this is not where you want it to be. But yeah,
Black is slightly out of position in this fight. He is...
It's a picturesque spot. But yeah, Black is a long way away, and the rest of his teammates, they can be right behind him. In this case, it's probably going to be Black turning, and they force staff him out. That's probably going to be what happens in this situation.
He could also go really deep here and try to hit the tier 3. I actually think that would be a pretty good idea. He can force a glyph or get the tier 3.
Well, it's the backdoor regeneration off cooldown. I know the creep. Yeah, the catapult's right there.
So
yeah.
he could just... I thought when he was going in, I thought he was just going to go for the tower, but he was lagging. If he wasn't lagging and was making that move, I think he would see that play and just get the tower, turn around, get forced out, and then they could siege high ground. But I guess at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter that much. If he just lives through this, they get 2 Eyes of the Storm off, which can happen really soon. Even though Super's in the top lane, he does have BOTs, so he could come down there.
All right, we're going again.
Yep.
So Black, we'll see what happens with him. And he decides just to get himself out. So there it is. Just turn, force staff out. Super did BT himself in. So they are ready to fight this one. And again, Super's got double ulti. So again, Navi's pressured on this bottom lane. And even Black's regeneration. It's not amazing like a heart. But there's still enough to bring him back up to a dangerous point for when he goes high ground on the next creep wave. And he's keeping his stacks up. It's rather mana intensive.
Yeah.
But he wants to make
He has
sure
a Shiva's
comes up-
card. It's going to take a while to run out of mana on a Bristleback then. He can do this for
30
2
and
minutes
35.
straight.
That's it.
Almost.
Well, up he comes now. So
there
4
we
points
go.
up in that wall path, and they beat down the tower. The Burrow strike, they caught a Force. That's the big one. The refresh roll is gone from Super. A Force will buy back. FNG stuck in the tree line, and Super just sends his ground. Double kill for him. They're attacking the racks. Now the oldie Dendy. He's holding onto his blip for the moment. They've still got this agency more on the back of Black, and Van's got him fighting. They're still trying to fight, but in comes your epicenter from FY. They'll finish the job. Super on a triple kill. A Force with the dieback about to happen. There it is. The Satanic may have been completed, but the Brewmaster is the only one left alive for Na'Vi. Dendy holding the ground, but he's losing his Brewlings. He's losing his racks. The range is the only thing that stands between VG Gaming and Mancreeps and GG. Na'Vi will be eliminated. The first team out of ESL One. VG Gaming will progress themselves through into the semi-finals and will have a very well-deserved rest for the rest of the day to come back tomorrow to play in that semi. But for now, Cinderin, we're finishing up here and we're jumping back over the panel for their thoughts.
Thank you very much, Toby. Yes, so first Na'Vi have gone down. Their second Na'Vi team, of course, the US version, will be in action in their next match, but it is the victorious VG Gaming that take the first quarterfinal here at ESL One New York. There was a lot of discussion going on the panel, actually, towards the end. Satanic, should he do it? Should he do it? Rapier. Yeah, it was all sorts of crazy discussions, and then it didn't really matter.
I think he should have gone for the Daedalus into the Satanic. If this game had stalled for another 10 minutes, I think that would have been the worthwhile option doing. You could see how easily he would drop as soon as the Scythe of Ice went off, so going for the Rapier would have been a mistake.
That Razor.
I mean, I agree with Sundren's sentiment of go big or go home.
Yeah.
But in any case, I don't think Divine would have been the proper choice there.
The Razor was a big problem, though. I think they should have picked it up instead of Luna. So Na'Vi kind of outdrafted themselves.
It was kind of weird, wasn't it? Because they were actually dictating the pace of that draft early on. We said it shouldn't have been because they took Skyreth first, and therefore it was like, well, we have to react now, and they reacted brilliantly. And then it got to Luna, and you were a bit like, I don't know if that works.
The thing is that even with Rapier, Luna cannot fight the Razor with double ultimate, so he couldn't just fight the Razor anyway. He knew he had to dive once and then buy back. So Rapier was really not a good option in my opinion.
They played it very strange. Luna's there for early tower pushes, Panda's there for early team fight, and they didn't really do either of them.
The Midas choice from Phobos was really bad in my opinion. I think it sets them really, like, they had to play from behind because the Luna had 900 HP going into the fight, so they had to wait and they just got out farmed. The Midas did not matter.
Well, not only that, he was sitting there defending the T1.
Okay, post-match interview is ready, I'm being told, so let's go back to DJ Wheat on the main stage.
Thank you very much. I'm here with Black. Let's give a round of applause for VG. Congratulations for making it to the semifinals. I know you've got to be excited about that. You get some well-deserved rest before day two. But rewind a little bit. You guys went through the Chinese qualifiers with a great force. You ended up defeating Newbie 3-0 in the end. Did that give you guys a lot of confidence and high expectations coming into ESL One New York?
Newbie was the team to beat after TI, obviously, and we didn't expect to beat them 3-0. And after we did, we were all really happy, really confident, and we thought that we are coming one step closer to be the best team in China, and so we're just hoping that we can carry on the momentum here.
All right, well, one team down. You eliminate the first one from ESL One. Let's talk about after game two. You guys handily took game number one. Some interesting picks there from the Na'Vi side. And then game two, they really turned things around. Was there any concern from your guys' perspectives, even going into pick bans into game three, and what your approach was going to be versus Na'Vi?
The second game, I think we had it wasn't really a drafting issue. It was just we made 2 or 3 wrong calls in the middle lane, and that led to DP getting really, really fat early on. Right. And then we couldn't really stop her anymore, and they just pushed all of the towers. We couldn't stop them, and that pretty much snowballed. And then in game 3, we just took it from the start and from 0, calm.
Do you guys feel like you had full control of game 3? I mean, it seemed like Na'Vi was having a really hard time with any sort of initiation. You guys always had the jump on them. Did you feel confident throughout that game 3, just in the position that you guys were in and the draft that you had?
It was mostly because our offlane hero, the Elder Titan, always scouted the supports out. So we had like total freedom because we knew where they are, what we could do, and like then we just snowballed from the start because we had a really good start because of that.
All right, well, thank you very much. Congratulations once again to VG. Thank you, Black. We'll find out in just a moment who you are going to be going up against in day number 2. But let's first send it back to the T-Mobile expert desk.
Thanks very much, Wheat. Yes, so back on the desk, some interesting words in that, particularly about map 2. We already pointed out the fact that mid lane got destroyed, basically, and they kind of agreed with that. There's no real shocks in that. Overall, VG, how are you impressed by the Milk?
Well, I think they executed the way everyone anticipated they would. Probably a bit of a shocker that Na'Vi won as handedly as they did in Game 2. But overall, I think Game 3 they just showed just how disciplined they are, how well they execute. We saw the middle fight around the 15-minute mark or so, I think, where they just got most bang for the buck in their spell usage, where they killed 3 of Na'Vi's heroes. And I really feel like that was the turning point of the game, where Vici just said, okay, we're just going to take it from here.
Yeah, Ben, there was we're going to show it actually. There was a moment in the late game where we thought, oh, hold on, maybe, just maybe, Na'Vi might just get back into this.
It was a nice catch. They try and burst him down with the sheep, but don't have enough. He PKPs out and catches them. And Voz, I was surprised he had vision down there. I guess she does have nighttime vision, but ends up being a full team wipe. But it was too little too late. There's already 2 racks down. And
I mean, we were discussing it. Well, you guys were arguing, actually. It wasn't discussion at all about where they should go after that as well, because it seemed like, okay, well, there's a little bit of a turnaround here. Voz has got a ton of gold. He can go and spend on whatever he wants to do. And then there was a ton of discussion over as to which way he go. But in the end, it didn't make any difference. Do you think it would have made a difference had he done something different?
I personally don't. I feel like they got a minimal momentum game where they could have gotten a big item up on Hovost, but it wouldn't have mattered much. And what Vici could have done was just draw the game long enough. They had 4 Raxes down by that time, so they could stall long enough for Black to pick up an Abyssal Blade on the Bristle Bag. They could get another Scythe of Vice on one of their heroes, and from there on, there's nothing that Na'Vi could do, even with a fully stacked Luna.
We've heard a lot about the rubber banding in 6.8 and 6.8 2B. But you heard our good friend Black there. He said in the second game they just snowballed. There was no rubber band effect for him. I mean, it just didn't come into play.
Well, Vici never killed them, so obviously, if you don't kill them, you're never gonna
get a rubber band
benefit. Exactly. So that was. I don't think even if they started killing them, I think it would have been a little too late. Now we seem so far ahead in Game 2 that there was really not much for VG Gaming to do with the lineup they had.
The rubber banding isn't quite as. It's substantially less than it was in that early days of the patch. I mean, I played a lot of games where we were like, this is over.
Yeah.
And then you win one fight and you're suddenly like, why do I have 10,000 gold and why am I winning the game? Like it was. So they fixed that really well. But I mean, that was. I thought Na'Vi in the second game, like Black himself said it was that early mid where he got 2 kills.
Yeah, they're tiny.
It's amazing from that one moment.
Ruined in that mid.
Yeah.
Game 3 though, as you said, VG were. I think you used the word disciplined in that game. Does that summarise the kind of style of play we're expecting from them tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, nothing surprising in how they've executed and played their game so far. It's just the way VG Gaming does it. I think the most undisciplined thing was FY trying to go for the solo kills with his Sand King near the end, but at that point in time, as I was saying, the game was probably over, and I think all of them knew that.
Would you have done anything differently for Na'Vi? I mean, you would have, obviously, from Na'Vi's point of view, but what would you have done?
I just think that Na'Vi wasn't solid enough today. I mean, they had great days, but overall, the drafting and the decision making was a bit. I think just think that Vici overall was the better team. It wasn't Na'Vi being completely outplayed or outdrafted. It's just not yet to the level they need to actually beat teams like Vici. But Vici wasn't that dominant, in my opinion.
Okay.
I mean, they were good, but I wasn't really impressed. I think it was a good series, but not the 2 teams who are, in my opinion, not the best teams in this tournament so far.
Okay, well, harsh words from Seb, but we'll find out whether he's right as we go into game number 2 very shortly. But first, let's go back to DJ Wheat, who's on the main stage.
Thank you, gentlemen. Before we hop into our second quarterfinal, of course, that'll be Secret versus Na'Vi US. We've got a giveaway for you guys. One of the great sponsors here at ESL One New York is, of course, iBuyPower. And we're going to be giving away a brand new box from iBuyPower called the iBuyPower SBX. Now you're wondering, okay, how do I enter? Whether you're here at Madison Square Garden Theater or you are at home, it's really simple. Just head on over to facebook.com/iBuyPowerPC, and there you're going to find a post about the SPX. You simply like the post, and then you post in the comment why you think you deserve the SPX. Now, the SPX, brand new from iBuyPower, is unique in that it can be used not only as a desktop computer, but it's already got full hookups to use on your TV. Any Steam game, anything for Battle.net, anything like that, able to play it like a desktop or, like many people are doing these days, on your television as well. It's got a full array of lighting, top-of-the-line hardware, GPU, etc. And we're going to give you a chance to win one here today for day one of ESL One New York. All you have to do, once again, facebook.com/iBuyPowerPC. Like the post, tell us why you think you deserve the SPX, and it could be yours. Are you guys enjoying Game one, day one so far? I know you're ready for day two, and you're only going to have to wait just a little bit longer. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, it's time for our second quarterfinal. It's Secret versus Navi US. Don't go away. and their opponents. A team once shrouded in mystery, this superstar lineup is about to make their LAN debut. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for Secrets! We are about to do battle, and before we do, let's shoot on over to the T-Mobile expert desk to hear what these experts have to say.
Thank you very much, DJ Week, once more on the main stage there. Yes, it is a very intriguing battle between Na'Vi US and Secret Team, the supposed all-star team. I like the fact that they've turned up in civvies. I think that's what we call them in the UK. Just no team, Period Flash is nodding. He's like, yes, definitely, that's definitely civvies.
Civilian, you mean?
It's indeed. I mean, for me, it harks back to the original days of esports. Than when we all turned up to, when we were 25, Malk, when we turned up to events 20 years ago, and we played these LAN tournaments.
How did I get dragged into this? That's like too ancient. You're literally the definition of Dota.
Right.
And you're calling me old?
I thought I might.
Okay.
I mean, what does Milk stand for anyway?
It's
the Milky
Danish
Bar
for
Kid,
milk.
isn't it? Yeah, Milky Bar Kid. This got awkward very fast. Again,
It did.
This happens a lot.
I feel like it was on you this time.
Really? It was on me this time? Alright, I'm going to take that one. It probably was me. We're going to get into this game very shortly, but I mean, Na'Vi US, great that they've picked up a US team. Obviously, they've lost their European team from the first game, so they don't really want to go out now either. But talk to us about them. For the people that don't know too much about them, because they're not as lauded as the.
I think the most noticeable fact right now is that they have two stand-in players. We have Bulba on borrow from Team Tinker, and then we have Way2, who's
Was on Liquid.
he was on Liquid. He's actually currently teamless, so I think it might be a safe assumption to think that he's going to be picked up for the lineup later on. I don't know
Maybe.
which available agents are, but they just lost two of the players, Brax and 1437.
Yep.
So I'm curious to see how well they will do, because
I think they'll do fine because there's three of the members of Team Dignitas before, right? That's Way2 and Fogged and Sneaking. So I mean, these players have played a lot. Most of the NA players have played together a lot, anyways.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of players in this tournament right now, some of these players are on top of their game right now. Fogged and Korok are both players that are performing really, really well on a very high level right now. So I think they can definitely go in. We should probably be looking to both Fogged and Korok for the big players in this tournament.
But what about Way2? Did you see that Earthshaker at TI?
Yeah.
It's true.
That was insane.
Okay, let's talk about the support on Na'Vi US, nicknamed the Green Dream.
Is that true?
How true is that? I mean, I want to know who made these facts up.
I don't know, but I've seen him hang out with DJ Wheat a lot.
I've never seen him called the Green Dream. It sounds completely made up. Nobody comes up
played
with
Dota
anything
before?
like that. Huh? Ever played Dota with Fogged?
Yeah.
No, I haven't. No. Have you?
Yeah, I play with him a lot, actually.
Okay.
I play
Do
with him a
you
lot.
call him? Do you refer to him as the Green Dream?
Occasionally.
Hey, Green Dream, let's go top. Stuff like that. Yeah.
That's too long to say in game. Outside of it, I would. But Fogged is the standout support from North America. I say there's very few good North American support players. The really popular North American ones usually aren't, like Universe and RTC.
If you look aside from EG, I think Fogged is probably the player that comes to mind.
Yes, and his Wisp, I would actually say, is probably the best in North America. Among some of his other ones, his Disruptor and Shadow Demon are also just top notch.
Bane?
Bane, yes.
Okay, let's take a look at the team that is being called the All-Star Super Team. They are a secret team made up of three of the biggest team names in Dota 2 history. They really are an all-star lineup in every sense of the word, including S4, who I think Malk thinks is probably, maybe, the best player in the world right now. Certainly in Europe,
I think
anyway.
if you look over a longer period of time, I think since TI3, S4 has probably been the most outstanding and consistent player, and the one to make the biggest difference in a team, being the strategizer and possibly captain of Alliance, and then of course always playing a superb game in the middle lane, very rarely losing. So yeah, I think S4 is if not the best European player, at least one of the very
He has
best.
my vote.
Yeah.
We've also seen some pretty good play by this chap, Kuroki.
Yeah, so this is one of the players. He's, of course, a very old school player by now. He's been playing all sorts of roles. We saw him in Na'Vi for the past 2 years playing the support role, and now he's moved back to where I think he feels the most comfortable. And one of the reasons why I think he felt the need to leave Na'Vi to begin with, that he really felt that he could do the most damage by playing the carry. And by all means, that's exactly what he's been doing.
Yeah, he's really scary. You can't leave him alone for 20 minutes. If you do, you'll just straight lose the game right there.
Is that not partly why he's done quite well recently? Because people kind of look at him and go, "Nah, I don't have to worry about him. He's fine."
No. Everyone knows. Everyone respects him.
Yeah.
A ton.
He was pretty much.
If you imagine how... Sorry, Sin. I was just going to say, if you imagine how hard it must be to want to play carry.
Oh.
Oh, his mouse
Saw a
is...
little call out.
Oh, no, he's saying... Okay, right. if you want to play carry desperately and you lose a game and you think, man, I wouldn't have done that, or I should be carry, that must be really, really hard. So, yeah, I think he must have made the right decision to go and play carry for another team.
I mean, amongst the normal star lineup, it's difficult to pick up one or two players, but the one that has impressed me recently watching him play is No Tail, or Big Daddy as he likes to be called, which, by the way, No Tail is a horrible name. Please change it back to the original one. I even sent him a picture of Big Daddy, who used to be a wrestler in the UK, just to put him off the fact that he would want to use it. He wants to use it more now because of that, which is even worse. But he's been playing absolutely out of his skin recently. His Wisp has been just absolutely terrific.
I think all of them have. I think this new team has also gained a newfound motivation to all
Synergy.
of them. Poppy is one player that a lot of people felt was underperforming in Navi but near the end, and now he's just delivering every game.
I mean, Synerin, you've played in teams like that where you've come together and you've kind of... What is it? Is that extra spark, motivation? What is it that just makes you kind of play better when you first get together?
I think we call it the honeymoon phase, right? When the teams get put together in the start. And it's a pretty common thing. All right. Nice, really nice, Bulba.
Hi, Mom. I feel like Korok is like the ultimate hot and cold player. He's super erratic. He's sometimes just looks like a
god.
Yeah, like a true god, really. One of the best carries in the world, one of the best mid laners in the world. And then other times he look like he's playing in the 3,000 MMR range. No, but that's true. He has some very bad games from time to time, and then he has some of the very best. He's a great player. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to bash on him. I'm just saying he's not.
3K MMR is a kind of hard bash on a pro player.
Okay, well,
that's me.
My point is, he's just not very consistent.
That's true. I think he's a very.
Luckily, Milk's been saved by the fact that the draft has started.
Another hero that Korok tends to run away with a lot is Ursa.
Yeah.
And they are on dire this game.
We have seen already today.
Yeah, so I think that's also another option. It's it's more useful than Storm Spirit in this particular version.
No real surprise on the first two bans?
But that's one of those more out-of-the-box kind of picks where they're going for something that Secret aren't really anticipating.
Yes, if they do the standard, like, Panda and whatnot, it's just usually I would be very surprised if it worked. Okay, well, Navi will start off with the Wisp ban, so I think picking Wisp first is dangerous. It is an option, but you can't give it away, so if you aren't planning to pick it up first, just ban it.
It's the Brewer's one, Scott.
S4's been playing some really good Brewmaster. It's one of his best heroes. And this is the Death Prophet. So those were like the two picks you mentioned were really impactful today so far. Brewmaster and the Death Prophet are going to be out of the pool. There's no obvious first pick right now, I think.
One hero we saw being banned in the last series was Bat Rider.
Yes.
First ban every game.
All 3 games. Yeah, all 3 games, first ban.
I don't know if they want it, though. I guess...
Bulba doesn't
how
really
are they
play...
distributing the roles on Navi US, do you know? Who plays which position right now?
Yeah, I think Bulba would be the offlane player.
He's offlane. And he plays a good Bat Rider, right?
Does he?
He's not well known for his Bat Rider.
He's mainly good on Clockwork.
Yeah,
and Elder Titan.
His clock is
really good.
Clock, Elder Titan. Okay, they're gonna get the Razor first.
But yes, back to your question of roles, it's probably Fogged and Way 2 on the support, Bulba on offlane, Korok and snaking mid and carry switching.
Makes the most sense, I guess.
There's also the Terrorblade. I don't know how.
That was the obvious pick.
Actually, that's the other one that was banned in the first 2 games as well.
That would be gross. He's a gross hero.
He is. I think Navi US should pick it up.
In the first place.
I think Navi US should get it.
They should.
I mean, he's ridiculous. Yeah, if they want to win the game, they should grab him.
Another hero that Navi US had a lot of success with 1437 was Keeper of the Light, and it's a hero that Puppy has been somewhat well known for too. I'm curious to see whether it's going
quite a lot too.
Yeah, and he's just, I think he's actually very underrated.
Oh yeah, buddy.
That's the Earthshaker.
Yeah. So
I think another noteworthy ban that hasn't been made yet, just because you can't afford it, is the Enigma. Puppy's Enigma is...
Yeah. So that Earthshaker is a pretty good Big Daddy, right?
It might be a little too greedy getting Earthshaker and Enigma in the same lineup for them, though. It could open up for some aggression early on from Navi US if they want to try it. Earthshaker is not the best solo support while Enigma's in the jungle. You can roam and you can perhaps set up a kill here and there, but as far as lane support goes, he's really weak, and Enigma cannot help you out in the first few minutes. So
also, you need stuff as Earthshaker. You want mana boots and you want blink and stuff like that. I hate having to play the 5 spot as like an Earthshaker because you
that's
think,
a good point.
I need this stuff. I benefit so much from it. You've got to give me the chance to get it. I can't be buying wards and upgrading courier. And
well, if you watch No Tail play, I'm actually prone to disagree. This is a guy that makes the most out of loved.
Oh,
the
wow.
least.
That's an early mag.
We've seen him run around with the Beastmaster back in Fnatic. Beastmaster, boots and gem, nothing else as a support. So I think like him just getting a soul ring up on the Earthshaker would be sufficient for him.
That's true, yeah, with the soaring, yeah.
So Magnus, this is probably one of the two heroes that S4 got really popular with. Magnus and Batrider. His are
And Puck,
next level.
I think.
His Bat and his Magnus, yeah.
Yeah,
His
but they're
Bat
probably,
Magnus.
if you had to choose two, it would probably be those two. And then Puck.
Son of Magnus.
I think he's the best Magnus in the world. There's not really that much doubt about it. And it's very unusual to see him picked, let alone in the first phase.
That's a pretty disgusting combo just with those two.
Is there anything in this game that's not disgusting to you?
I said that TB was gross. This is a disgusting combo.
Okay.
There's a big difference.
Yeah, no, that's a whole new level of disgust.
But they are two melee heroes without that much like zoning ability, and they're not too strong in lane, so there are some weaknesses coming
I
out.
like the Tidehunter pick. It's a great combo breaker, and it allows for them to sort of feel safe in the 5-on-5 engagements until the mag gets a BKB up and running at least.
Another hero I just thought about, which is interesting, nobody seems to care about Lycan yet. The first match, it wasn't picked or banned at all in any of the games, right?
Yeah.
And it's been changed. Some of it, I think, partially buff, partially nerf, mainly nerf. But there were some games after the version came out where we saw some really impactful Lycan plays. For example, Vici Gaming ran it on Black, who just ran over opponents. And so far, no one has been pulling that hero out.
I think it's because in that way that you want to play the Lycan, Terrorblade just does it better.
Oh, well, he was banned in the first series, then you could have got the Lycan.
That's true.
Lycan's much better at Roshan, though.
Yes.
Why anti-mage banned here? Why specifically
It's
anti-mage?
very common Magnus partner.
Yeah, and Kuroki's been playing it a lot.
Yes.
Been very successful with it.
It's a free battle furry as well.
Very potent. And that's the thing about Team Secret. All of them are super experienced, so they can pull strats from pretty much any era of Dota in the past like a year or two and have a moderate amount of success with it, because all of them have been playing competitive forever. So they're very well versed in 4 Protect 1, Magnus AM strats,
Good, yeah.
whatever you want to.
That's the funny thing. If you look at Team Secret, that logo is kind of funky. They're all just wearing whatever. So you'd think they were just a bunch of guys that just turned up, and it's like the experience you've got of those 5 players is insane.
And that's why I liked it when they got introduced at the start. It's just a throwback.
Some guys.
Yeah, it's just some guys that kind of formed a team and thought they'd play some games, and hey, look, they can win some money. It just happens to be like the best part of $100,000 up for grabs.
I think Secret would be wise here to ban. Oh, they banned the Viper. I would think that Spectre was a hero that you would really want to eliminate for the enemy team when you have 2 Blink Initiate heroes already.
That's true, but I don't necessarily think they're worried about getting out late game.
It's not so much late game, it's more what the hero actually offers in the team fight. He can really disrupt their play a lot, I feel.
That's true.
And it's also a snaking hero, right? He does play Spectre, I think.
I mean, he can solo kill the Earthshaker every time he ultis, basically.
Fair enough.
I'm not sure for Navi US yet if they have a plan with the Razor, if he goes mid or safe lane. Because they could still... in a way, Korra plays a really good Razor, but I think in this kind of game when you're playing against these 2 heroes already, I already think a hero like Storm Spirit with an Orchid could be a playmaker. It's still too early to call it, but they might be thinking along the lines of, we need to get Korok snowballing in this game and play the Razor and Snaking, who actually plays a good Razor too. They could safe lane him, or they could aggressive tri-lane or dual lane into the Shaker lane, which...
But I think one thing you're thinking here is you probably want a hero that can live through reverse polarity instead of a hero that's just gonna die to it.
Yeah, or you play around it.
That's what Tidehunter's for.
Tide can do that.
Yeah,
Storm can play around it with
Razor can
Orchid.
as well. I don't feel like if Storm is hit by one of those stuns, he's probably dead.
Yeah, I guess. It kind of depends on who gets the job.
I mean, this is the highest level of Dota, right? They're easily gonna coordinate it. As soon as they get one stun off on a Storm Spirit, he's gonna die to the follow-ups as well.
It's far too risky of a pick, I'd say.
Yeah, I agree. I think the
reward
Razor
isn't
mid
worth the
right
risk.
now is a solid lineup choice, especially because he's going up against this Magnus.
Oh, there it is. It seems like Team Secret just goes in and they're like, we don't care about your metagame. We have our own, just for our team.
I was going to say that they're all comfort picks for all 3 players so far.
Well, if you're an Earthshaker, you're really happy with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, now he doesn't need arcane boots.
That is his biggest issue for such a long time. Is mana. So yeah, Kotl's pretty gross. Also, if you can pen people in with the Fisher, hit him with the Blast as well, that's a nice combo.
It's also impossible for Navi US to ever push into the base against these 3 AoE clear spells.
Here comes the Naga or Spectre for Team Secret, and then they play the Super Turtle game.
I mean, it's a very well-rounded 3. They have the team fight, they have the damage, they have the split push even with Keeper to Light recall, and they definitely have the T3 hold. So already any plan of attack.
They even have the tier 1 hold.
Tier 1, yeah, technically, if they can get there in time. But Navi US, they have a really difficult time of finding any good weakness from Team Secret to exploit.
I think that's a solid pickup. The Faceless Void, where you can go in and keep them all in place without any of them interfering. I think this is a very good pickup.
Can you? I don't say you can't go in without them interfering. Like, Earthshaker will always be able to drop a Fissure.
Blinding Light is going to
Blinding Light is really bad. Like,
It's not so much for the Void's damage output, but rather the setup that he causes, where he can lock 2 of them down in the...
But who's he giving it for?
Well, we'll find out.
So far,
They've still got 2 picks.
Yeah, they need some more damage here for
Get a Witch Doctor. They need to look at it go. They need to look at it go, let's be honest.
But this Coddle Shaker thing is a very classic lane from back in Dota 1 when teams would play aggressive trial lane. Coddle Shaker Razor was a lane at one point. We had something like Coddle Shaker Mirana, Morphling. All those carries are good. And Kuroki plays a mean Morphling. And I think...
Oh, there we go.
There we go. Holy Moses.
Or you pull out the Dusa.
Okay.
Siege tank lineup.
So,
if you're Navi US right now...
You said earlier on, if there's something that hasn't been picked enough that you think should be picked, it's Medusa.
You're just going to sit there and be like, oh god.
You are, aren't you? Looking at that, just going, well, okay.
You know, one of the oldest Dota strategies was when it was like Radiant versus Dire.
Yeah.
And it was not all pick, it was just Radiant versus Dire. And it was buff Medusa with everything you could possibly put on her. Which one of them was Empower. So it was like Empower and Bloodless, or Empower, just throw everything and make Medusa super tank.
I'll tell you right now, period, this is gross.
This just elevated to super gross, I think.
But you know what happens every time I see Medusa pick? I remember playing with K-pop one time, and his strat was you get Medusa mid, get a really early blink dagger, you blink an ult, and then Witch Doctor ults behind her. We tried it twice, and it was the most miserable, depressing loss. So whenever I see Medusa, I'm reminded of that awful strat and how happy he was to tell us about it and how terrible it was. So shout out to K-pop.
Well, you got your will. You got the Witch Doctor on the Dire side of things.
I think Deuce is decent here. She's tanky enough to survive a Ravage and a Faceless Void easily, but at the same time, I think her damage output is going to be severely limited by Razor with Static Link as well as Tidehunter with Kraken or with the Anchor Smash.
That's assuming Razor's ever going to get near her, though.
Just get a BKB. They have nothing for BKB.
Reverse Polarity?
I mean, they're not going to be able to kill him.
Stone Gaze?
They're both mediocre, but Medusa, usually you just sit there, you turn on your ultimate, and you turn on Split Shot, and you just auto-attack, hold position, do whatever you want.
Yeah, but when you set it up with Polarity and then have the Earthshaker to follow up with, Deuce's just going to stand in the background and be like...
Yeah, I mean, that's assuming you get things freely, but, I mean, they can run in with a Razor, they can blink ult with Tide, they can run in with Faceless Void, they have many ways to...
Oh, definitely.
You can't...
Both lineups can counter-engage each other.
Yes. But it's not your class that, like, Deuce, okay, she can't die. Whatever you throw at her, she isn't going to be able to die, but at the same time, you want her to be able to do damage, and normally you don't have this Razor interaction or any sort of huge minus damage so that she actually has to run. If she runs, she doesn't do anything in fights.
One of the classic ways of countering the Medusa is to get Mana Burn, but...
Anti-Mage is already
the thing that Secret noticed is that Anti-Mage was banned by the enemy team. They have the Coddle themselves for Mana Leak. So now, as far as Mana Burn goes, we're kind of only looking at Necro books that are, like, really useful, right? So she is incredibly tanky. PL is out of CM.
Lion?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Lion.
Mana Drain?
Very situational.
He would get ranked.
Extremely situational.
If there was, like, a Chronosphere, he could stand outside.
That's true. He's technically dealing a lot of damage with Mana Drain.
But yeah, and when he gets the Agano Scepter off, it's great in the Chrono.
Medusa is, like, almost impossible to kill if she has good farm and you don't have Mana Burn. It's insane how much she can tank through.
I mean, to be fair, Pyrian has a good point with the 2 disables on her as well from Lion.
Lion wouldn't be half bad. But it's the Mana Burn itself is pretty unlikely to get off, I think.
Yeah,
but
you could get... I think Jakira would do something here as well.
Does Doom remove Mana Shield?
I don't think so.
If you have Ags.
If you have Ags.
Isn't it? Yeah, you need the Ags to disable passives, right?
But it's not a passive, it's an active.
Wow. That's true.
Okay, this just got off the chart.
Ouch. There is still Doom there, and that would kind of mess up quite a bit. Timbersaw and Medusa.
I think it's too much farm that they would need.
That would be extremely greedy, because Doom would have to jungle.
Yeah,
they would have to jungle, and that's just not possible in their lineup.
I think it could be Lion or it could be something like Jakiro or something like that.
I just don't see them killing the Medusa in the mid late game. Like with these picks, I know it's crazy when they have a Void and a Razor and a Witch Doctor, but if you don't have any mana burn and there's any sort of help, just one blinding light.
Necrolite. To give it a walk down.
Well, it's not really going to help either.
Yeah, Necrolite.
They need more stuns. Okay. Well, they went for Lich instead.
They're going for the lane dominance.
Yeah. I think it's a good call. They don't want to play late game against this, I think.
Yeah, it is. Percentage HP removal and then just into the ultimate. Bye-bye.
She doesn't really lose that much health.
She doesn't have HP. She relies on mana.
Okay, thank you very much, guys. We're going to head over to the commentators in just a moment. Of course, this is, it is, in the words of Period Flax, a super gross lineup as far as Team Secret are concerned. Let's see whether they convert it into their first match win. Our commentary team are standing by for Game 2 of the quarterfinals of ESL One New York.
That's right, thank you, Red Eye. And we're going to join by myself, Capitalist, and of course my good co-caster, ESL favorite, 7 King Matters. I'm going to be referring to as Sebastian. Man, Sebastian, it seems like we're going to be facing up against what seems to be a David versus Goliath matchup, man. This feels very, very one-sided. The US team versus up against a team that is pretty much practically undefeated. I don't know, what do you think about this?
It's going to be a really tough matchup for Navi US, that's for sure. I mean, Team Secret has been looking so strong, so damn strong, and I don't think they even played all their cards yet. Those players are so experienced, they can play basically any type of lineup, aggressive lineup, defensive lineup, exactly like they drafted today. So looking forward to see how they can adapt in a LAN situation, because it's their first LAN as a team, and that's worth mentioning.
Yeah, well, it looks like we're going to be seeing, start off, a defensive tri-lane from the side of Team Secret, of course. This is to be expected. We're seeing very much a turtle type 4 protect 1 strategy from Secret. This is going to be one of those times, I mean, all these hard carries are really coming into the meta. The Spectre has been really popular of late. We've seen our handful share of Medusas as well. You can see Navi US, they're going in for an early engagement into the jungle, looking to see if they can just get in some early wards and possibly contest that early pull, which we can see. And it looks like they'll just be going back to a defensive tri-lane of their own, or at least, I would say, dual lane, right? I mean, you're not expecting the Lich to be run in a defensive tri-lane most of the time. So do you think he actually goes into the off lane here with the Tidehunter and maybe stacks up the Ancients a little bit, or does he control the mid better?
Yeah, it's very smart from Navi US, because they're going to get a really good off lane. I mean, Lich Tide is a very strong one, and they're going to deny farm from Kuroki on the Medusa. And what they did is actually go as 5, block the pool camp, because they know that Shaker usually roams and get boots and mana potions. So he just roams around. They don't buy sentries. So that's going to be a really big deal for Team Secret. They're not going to have early XP on the supports.
So this mid matchup, we're going to be seeing S4, the son of Magnus, facing up against Korok's Razor. Now, normally we're looking at it, range matchup versus melees. Yeah. Normally it's in the favor of Razor, but Magnus is one of those, I would say, exceptions to the rule where he can always just survive through lanes just because bottle spamming and just spamming out Shockwave, he should be able to do pretty well in this matchup, right?
There's also a lot of pressure that Magnus can put on Razor when he gets level 6 because of... You can, like, Razor to dominate his lane has to link the Magnus and just push him back. Whenever he's gonna do that, Magnus can instantly RP him and skewer him back to the tower. And if there is any support, like an Earthshaker, a Cuddle Wave, then Razor can die. So Korok is gonna have to be really careful with the links when Magnus is level 6. Whenever the support is missing, he can instantly die. And that means lose the lane to the Magnus, which should never happen when you play Razor.
And then we've got this offlane here from the side of Team Secret, the Timbersaw, who's facing up right now 1 versus 1 up against Snake King's Faceless Void. Eventually will be joined by the Witch Doctor, but Witch Doctor not really known for being the best harassive support. He's got a pretty good attack animation, but that's sort of solved by the reactive armor. So I feel like he should be able to do really well in this top lane, 1 versus 2, get a lot of farm out, which is usually the biggest problem with Timbersaw, right? Is that his escape mechanism can be a little iffy up against certain stuns. You can easily interrupt that, and he can just be kind of harassed away pretty early. You have to make that choice at level 1, whether you go for the reactive armor or the escape, and that can leave you exposed to just not getting any early experience. But in this matchup, it seems like he's going to get level 3 pretty fast, and then from there just play very aggressively up against this dual lane.
I really feel like Fly Simba can win this lane, honestly, because Void and Witch Doctor can force him back. They can kill him if he overextends, but they cannot burst him. And Timbersaw can burst your support. I mean, if Timbersaw decides to go for the Witch Doctor, there's nothing they can do. I mean, they can get really good bashes from the Void if he's lucky enough, but I feel like Timbersaw is favored for it. So basically, like, every off lane is actually looking good for the two teams. Lich Tide are going to do really well against Medusa as well, because of the fact that the pool camp is blocked, and this is a really big deal for Team Secret. I really feel like they should have bought sentries. It's going to hurt them a lot.
Yeah, just basically because they can always pull the lane back, and it's unlikely that there's going to be a very efficient gank. I mean, if they're already so far back and so close to their tower, you combine the fact that then the supports on the side of Team Secret aren't necessarily the most threatening in the world either. I mean, the Earthshaker Fisher mixed in with Illuminate Blast, that's a lot of damage, but not as threatening as other support duos out there in the game. So I think you're right. I think we're going to be seeing both offlaners get a lot of experience, and I guess it just comes down to, mainly for me, how this mid matchup goes. That is going to determine how this laning phase.
It's going to be even. I think Razor's going to have a slight edge, but nothing really impressive. Magnus is just going to spam the waves like Bottle Crow or just get the runes, whatever.
Right.
He's going to even get mana from Papi at one point. So he's just gonna get, a dagger at a good time, mana boots, etc., whatever he needs. So I don't think the lanes are gonna be very even in that game. It's just all gonna come down to the first initiation or the rotations from the supports.
And who's that really going to be coming from? I mean, do you imagine this is... I just can't see the Earthshaker by himself being enough to set up a kill in any one of these lanes. I mean, possibly the Razor, as you said, like the RP is probably going to be our first setup. But pre-level 6, I just don't see a possibility, unless a hero seriously overextends himself, of there being a very early first blood. And it seems like we're just going to be having a bit of a farm battle back and forth and a little bit of pause Dota in between.
It's cool. It gives us time to actually know what's going to happen. I mean, to be honest, I don't see this game is going to be very passive early on for the first 15 minutes. I'm afraid very, very passive and defensive. It's going to be very strategical. The warding, the rune control, because that can turn the mid lane. The haste on the Magnus and Invis on the Razor, stuff like this can actually turn the Magnus and the Razor into gankers. But before we get dagger on Magnus, before we get actual items on the Razor like a mech or anything that can actually push them to take fights, I don't think there's going to be any sort of aggression from both teams. It's just going to be very defensive lanes. Just protect their carries, protect their mid laner, and farm up, get the levels you need.
Now, does that concern you for Navi US? Is that we're going to be seeing a very stalled out laning phase? And obviously it feels like there's a bit more pressure on them seeing this 4 Protect 1 strategy. We heard the analysis desk basically talk about how the Medusa, she kind of seems unkillable once we go into the mid to late game. And so in which case, Navi, there's so much pressure on them to try and shut down Team Secret, and yet they can't do that in the laning phase. It's got to be more of the mid game team fights that they're looking for.
To be honest, the analyst desk mentioned that they don't have mana burn is really good against Medusa, right? But Void can't go for Diffusal Manta style build.
True.
It's actually really good.
Yeah.
Like we've seen, I can remember Silent does that every time he faces a Skeleton King carry and he has Void. It could definitely work versus Team Secret's lineup, and then he can actually burst down the Medusa regardless of the mana shield. So I could expect Snaking to get that, and that's maybe why they actually decided to farm the Void instead of the Tyranor, because Lich's Void offlane is actually legit. I mean, maybe not as strong as Lich Tide, but since you're not gonna have to kill the Medusa, just gonna have to farm up under your tower, maybe that's what they have in mind to counter the Medusa from Kuroki.
And of course, for those of you guys who don't know, when you are the Faceless Void and you throw down that Chronosphere, obviously it locks down all of your allies, but some of your own units, such as Manta Style as well as Necronomicon, do work. You're able to move those units around and attack. So that could be a viable option. I mean, I can't remember the last time that I've seen a Diffusal Void. It's been quite some time, but maybe we're going to be seeing it again. But my biggest concern, I guess, basically comes down to the Timber Saw. And, you have all this really defensive measures from the side of Team Secret, right? You've got the very defensive support duo of the Earthshaker and Coddle. You even got Magnus, who I feel can make some big plays going into the mid-game, but he's not necessarily a small-time brawler, right? He's not like a Puck who can make team fights happen every single minute. So it really just comes down to this Timber Saw, who is the true brawling hero, and the fact that he's going to be doing so well in the laning phase.
He will create space, for sure. For
absolutely. That's what I'm thinking.
I definitely agree. He's going to be the playmaker for Team Secret, at least in the early phase of the game. That's for sure.
Well, Bulba, he's having a pretty decent time here in this bottom lane. It's getting 5 CS, obviously not too huge, but for an off lane to be expected. Our mid matchup being right now the Magnus sitting at 13-1 compared to our Razor, who's actually 9-4. So Magnus doing really well in this lane so far, despite the fact that Razor has picked up a couple of denies. All in all, to be expected, really. And really, the Timbersaw, 6-1, is getting a lot of experience, though, as he's sharing part of this pull, and he's making sure to roam over and be a part of that experience every single time.
Yeah, Pop is getting a lot in the jungle. He's already level 3, so he's been just spamming waves on the creeps with his Keeper of the Light. It's something he has been doing with Na'Vi as well, when he used to play that hero, so he's gonna get a lot, and just always stay behind the Magnus, just in case, give him some mana, control the runes, and farm the woods, which is really good. This Keeper of the Light can be seen as a jungler. It's actually very effective in the jungle, so I like this decision from him. He's not gonna help the Medusa. I mean, Medusa's okay versus Lich Tide, she can't really die. Unless she overextends, but he understands that, and he's like, whatever, I'm just gonna try to get some farm, try to get a mech or whatever he needs. Rush Axe. I don't know what the strat is, but I like this decision from him. It allows them to have even lanes because they're facing versus the Lich and they don't have the pool camp. So
so they're missing out on a certain amount of golden experience, and Keeper of the Light is making up for that. And now that he's hit that level 3, that's sort of the point where Keeper of the Light no longer relies on clarities as much. We're seeing him get a little bit low on mana, but now with that level 2, oftentimes when you see a Keeper of the Light, when he does this, he goes for at level 3 a level 2 Chakra Magic, and then that's that infinite mana spam.
That is most likely what he's going to go for. Yeah, I definitely agree.
Yeah, and it makes a lot of sense. I mean, you can't really do anything in that safe lane, as you said, because really the Keeper of the Light with auto attacks, that's not going to be enough, especially up against a Tidehunter who has that Kraken Shell, as well as potentially the Lich Armor later on. And if you're spamming out the wave to harass people, well, you're just going to push it into them. So
definitely
not really a viable option. But as we go into this, about, I don't know, where do you think you're going to see the first movement from the side of Na'Vi US, right? There's definitely a lot of pressure on them to perform well in the mid-game. When do you think they make that transition from the laning phase to going, okay, let's force some team fights with the Chronosphere, let's try and take down some towers?
I think level 6 Void. I mean,
right away.
Snaking, he has to create space for his team, because when they have Chrono, then Team Secret, they don't have really that answer to the Chrono early on. They have nothing. I mean, they have counter initiation, but being in a Chrono is not an option. They can really counter initiate after, but they're going to lose the hero they Chrono. That's for sure. I mean, on the Lich ultimate, the Witch Doctor ward, the hero that gets Chrono early on is going to die, no matter who it is, even if it's Medusa. And the Shaker Fisher is going to win some time, but it's not going to be enough, because as it was mentioned in the pre-game analysis, it's not going to be the Void actually dealing the damage. It's going to be the Nova, the Plasma Field, magical spells. So the Void is going to create space, get them some kills, maybe some towers, although it's actually really hard, because even if you kill 1 or 2 hero, getting the towers is not easy versus the spam from Magnus, from Keeper of the Light, from Shaker. So I think that it's going to be about farming, getting some key kills, and the Roshan advantage from the Dire side, if they can actually get the Roshan. That's what I don't really like about Navi's US lineup. They don't use the fact that they are Dire, because they need the 5 heroes in the Rosh pit to get the Rosh, and that's not even fast. It's going to be a really slow Rosh, and you don't want to spend time in that pit against the full AoE damage from Team Secret. So.
Yeah, I mean, you could have like the Coddle just sitting here with the new Roshan.
Exactly.
You could just spam out Illuminates right into them.
And he's going to solo kill them, right?
Yeah.
Solo push them out. So it's the only weakness of their draft. I feel like Navi US, they lack this Roshan abuse. Not that it's an abuse, but like, you got to use all the resources you have, right? So, and I don't feel like they can really use that with their lineup.
You could see just how confident Fly, now known as Simba, up in this top lane is. He's gone for no escape mechanism. No level in Timber Chain. He knows that it's pretty much all physical damage coming out on him, unless we see like a really weird early level of Maledict on the Witch Doctor, which is highly unlikely. Nobody really goes for that spell early. So he went ahead, just second level of reactive armor, and went for the Whirling Death, because why not? He can go ahead, get some easy CS out of that, easily harass the Faceless Void at the same time, and also decrease their damage by taking away that primary attribute. So in general, it goes to show how aggressive he feels he can be in this lane. Now, it does seem like he's been taking a little bit of damage, and you can see that Snaking has gone for an early set of boots, maybe to try and help harass the Timbersaw away a little bit more.
And it's actually a shame Snaking disconnected. I'm not sure if it was key in the move, because they're actually going on Simba right now. The cask was just used, 2 seconds ago, and Snaking has the jump, like the time warp ready. He's gonna be jumping on Simba for sure, but you can see that he already have 8 charges of reactive armor, so I'm not sure if they can kill him.
And jump
It's gonna be
in.
really close.
They need a time lock, Brock.
They need a
He's gonna
bash.
get one more.
Zero bash.
Couldn't get it.
Really
And
unlucky.
The Fisher also being able to help them out, pushes the enemy away. At least they forced a teleport, but obviously not really what they were hoping for. So now that we're back into the game, we can see Korok once again forcing away S4, but every single time he just takes a little bit of damage and really doesn't force out the Magnus truly, as it just comes down to oftentimes shockwave hits. Jump in, Kuro, gonna be taking a little bit of damage here, unlikely to be going down, as that mana shield just makes him so tanky. I mean, do you think that extra little buff that happened to the mana shield, the extra 10% that you're getting with the latest patch, do you think that actually makes a big difference for the Medusa?
Not that big of a difference. I think the Medusa came back. There was also the Mystic Snake buff, plus the mana shield buff, plus the fact that the version is now more late game oriented, and Medusa is one of the best late gamers. I just think the Medusa's good as a hero.
S4 looking for that skewer, trying to get in front, but couldn't quite get there, and will actually be unable to get the kill despite the fact that two-man rotation from the supports of Team Secret. So good attempt, but unfortunately just couldn't quite seal it, especially without that RP.
What they need right now is the level 6 on Magnus, and then Korok is gonna be really pressured on the mid lane. He cannot link the Magnus anymore, else he dies. So Magnus is gonna be really even. Like, the lane is completely even, honestly. Razor is known as a mid crusher. It's actually not the case. The lane's even. Magnus is even 3 CS ahead, so that's a really good thing for Secret. And that's why Puppy actually drafted the Magnus instantly when he saw the first pick Razor.
Yeah, just especially in the hands of S4, one of the best Magnus players out there, if not the best, knowing that he's going to perform well no matter what matchup he's going up against, and that's going to mean an early Blink Dagger, an early initiation, which is so necessary for this team on the side of Team Secret, because they are going to be, I mean, that's their most offensive jump in right there, is the jump RP and the potential after that. S4 gets picked off in the middle lane there, so the Plasma Field was able to finish him off. The attempt at a skewer, not quite enough. Now top lane, Simba, big blast goes down. Snaking's actually going to make the jump away just before the Timber Chain could hit him. And Simba almost going down there, but got some extra help from Puppy that kind of turned that fight entirely.
And you can see that the Void is pressured. I mean, he got a belt of strength as the first item, means that he's really pressured top. I'm really surprised Bilba doesn't have more farm, and they actually get him with the wave. Really nice play top.
Oh, big. Yeah, that's a big pick off, and that's something that, I mean, with Puppy already being there in lane, they should know about that, but it looks like Snake King just slightly misplaying that. Meanwhile, way too sexy, beautiful block off there from Big Daddy will ensure another kill for Team Secret. 2-1 now.
Yeah, the key ward from Team Secret actually spot Village just roaming and wanted to ward, so she just dies. Really nice play. I'm really surprised that Tidehunter didn't get much farm, because it was 2 versus 1 versus the Medusa, as just Colo was just farming the woods and Shaker roaming around. He's actually has only like under 20 CS, which is a bit surprising in my opinion. He's still doing really well, don't get me wrong, but I was expecting him to.
Oh, the RP gets laid down. S4 pushes him back into the tower, and that should be a pick-off.
Exactly.
Blast will seal the deal.
This is why Magnus is so good versus Razor when he's level 6. You cannot get close. If you get in RP range, you instantly die. And all the advantage you build as the Razor, just on every last hit, it's just gone, completely gone. You could see that now Magnus is level 7, and he's completely even with the Razor. So Razor did nothing on the mid lane anymore.
And Timbersaw, well, he's about to pick up his level 6, which is obviously huge in these team fights, the Chakram being able to add so much, but also the laning phase as well. I mean, it's a pretty mana-efficient ability for you to just throw out, farm up, while also harassing the enemy hero, especially if they're melee. And that's going to be made that much easier by the fact that Puppy will be backing him up with the Luminant Blast as well as the extra Chakra magic.
They're putting so much pressure on Snaking.
Yeah, look at him. Just, he doesn't want to leap away like that, but in return, he takes a good 300 damage, and now may not be able to farm underneath his tower,
and
as he knows.
Mana boots on Colo, so that's so much mana spam for for Simba. He's just gonna spam his spells all the time, and the healing from the Witch Doctor is not enough.
Snake King, barely leaps away there, and now the stun onto Simba, but he's got that reactive armor. Faces Void will drop it, and he does get a time lock proc in the very beginning. A good amount of damage. He's a little bit more, just barely able to finish off the Timbersaw before the burst damage could come through, and at least they do take him down after that overextension, but it just goes to show how early Team Secret are really able to push the envelope when it comes to this laning phase, being so aggressive like that, diving way underneath the tier 1 tower, and it goes to show how secure they feel with the laning phase and how well they're doing.
They're gonna pressure the Void so much. I feel like Snaking has to roam although now he has chrono cooldown, so obviously it's not the right time, but he will be forced out of his lane. And it's actually not a bad thing for Navi US, in my opinion. It's okay. He needs to find openings.
Well, they're going to put this tri-lane once again. And this time around, Snake King, no mana and no cooldown.
Yeah, they know what's going on. And you can see the warding and from Team Secret. They just unwarded top lane with the sentry, and they have a ward on the right, so they know what's going on. They want to control the safe lane, and that's how you create space. And the Lich might die from this.
Chakram catches him out. Blast doesn't quite last there, and Simba will keep choosing him. Nicely placed there with the Timber Chain. Simba will be able to back himself up just fine.
And this is how you create space. This is how you protect the Medusa. When you have a hard carry, it's not. Oh, you don't always have to sit behind the Medusa. Attacking is the best way to actually defend yourself in Dota. So they're creating so much space. So they force the rotation from the Lich, from the Witch Doctor, even from the Tidehunter pretty soon. So Kuroki is completely free. He can do whatever he wants. He can just farm the jungle, farm his lane, push the tower.
Yeah, they do have a stack up here for Bulba that he may be able to use a little bit later on to the game, but he desperately needs that Blink Dagger, I think. Just the long-range defense. Snake King Bits bursted once again. Just the Fissure and the whole entire combo of Timbersaw. And if he doesn't get enough backtracks there, there's no way he's surviving through that combo as such a squishy agility hero like that.
It's so much damage. It's insane. The damage output they can have from the Power Wave, the Fissure, and the Timber Super's damage.
Yeah, they can't even pull because every single time it's interrupted by the Keeper of the Light spamming out that Luminate Blast. So you're probably going to be seeing Navi US moving around the map a little bit more. They can't afford to keep going back to this top lane. And they may try and put some pressure here on Kuro with Way Too Sexy and Bulba. And even Snake King showing up now. But it's not really going to be enough. And it's just so unfortunate that a team that is supposed to be, forcing mid-game team fights has lost the laning phase so hard that the 10 minutes around, they're moving away from wherever Secret are at.
They were forced to. Yeah, they had no choice. And look at how Kuro feels safe. He doesn't even have ultimate on the Medusa. He's like, no one's gonna bother me this game anyway, so I can just go for whatever I want. So he just skipped the most defensive spells he has. Navi US has to find openings, and they have what it takes to take early fights. Maybe they wait the Blink Dagger from Bulba to actually get a good Ravage off, but right now their safe lane is completely lost.
You can see now Simba. Now this is a buff up I actually wanted to talk about. With the change up of being able to have a guaranteed rune in each spot, this does give a buff up to certain offlaners who pick up bottle, and you can see Simba really took advantage of it this game. He picked up the bottle fairly early on and has been constantly rotating to cover that top rune, and it's paid off big dividends. Whether it's just getting the bounty rune, which is a nice little golden experience buff for some of the creeps that you miss in lane, but also that refill of the bottle. And here with the haste rune, nobody can come to top. Nobody can interrupt him taking this tower unless they do a 5-man teleport.
Yeah, he's just gonna force them to use Ravage, Chronosphere, or any big cooldown spell like this, and they don't want to. They want to get more than the Timbersaw kill with their Chronosphere. They want to get a lot, and especially push down towers. Right now it's just Team Secret controlling on the game, having a better game plan overall, and they're already putting the recall to use, which I really like to see.
Yeah, they're going to move S4 here and wrap around behind the Tier 1 tower, just ensuring that there's nobody here. If they catch a hero, that's great. But if not, they've pushed Navi US back away from this Tier 1, which should be claimed here by Kuro. Not quite. Radiant will still get the last hit, though. Snake King's going to jump in, top lane, throws down the Chronosphere, locking down Big Daddy, but he needs a little bit more. Gets away from the Chakram. Now the Fissure almost coming out. The blast comes in. They can almost pop him. He gets off a little bit of extra stuns, but he will eventually fall. The Chain Frost continues to bounce, hits Simba once, but unable to use that haste rune just yet. But now he spies Fog. He's going to go for it. Look at that burst damage. Buddha Restoration keeping him alive for the time being. Snake King will try and help, but here comes Secret. They're coming in with 2 extra heroes. RP will be laid down to lock Snake King and take him down with a shockwave. And Korok, unfortunately, is going to be too late to this engagement. Secret continuing to move around the map very aggressively. Great response to the gank there of Navi US.
That's the thing. I mean, with the pressure Team Secret is applying passively, just by roaming, by showing themselves on their offlane, they forced a Chrono and a Lich ultimate for a Shaker kill, which is support. A support that's level 5. That's what Secret has to do. They are creating space. That is what they are doing right now.
Oh no, the skewer perfect from S4 is going to be bringing back into Kuro, and with an even better Fissure block from Big Daddy, it ensures there's no escape for the Razor, who's currently so much of the net worth from the side of Navi US. He was the one who was almost on par with Kuro's farm, but now that's just been destroyed. Now jump in, Ravage goes off. They're going to try and throw everything at Kuro here. The Witch Doctor ultimate going off, still trying to eat through that mana shield, but he just takes so much. much, and Bulba can't even finish him off. They're going to have to run themselves away. 2 heroes down, and possibly Bulba up next is able to get the blink out. Kuro still getting low. Skewer back, and way too sexy will be popped for his greed to try and pick off Kuroki. Chakram goes out. Oh, what a beautiful Fisher block. Goes right through both of them. And Fog, the last one alive, the last man standing for Navi US, will be taken out by that last Chakram. Korok comes in. He's all alone, being the first to revive here. And is he going to throw away another kill? Simba trying to play around with this. Korok side of the Storm's doing a good amount of work, but it's not enough. The magic damage rips through Navi US 12-3 now, as Team Secret showing the reason why we looked at this as a David versus Goliath matchup. The Giants are just killing it.
What a play from Team Secret, and they are executing this perfectly, and not with easy spells. It's Fisher, it's only skill shot spells, so really, really well played. It's impressive how they play it. And Kuro, that's classic Kuroki. It's best usage, honestly. He will always stack the charges, get the 15 charges, and this is why they actually won that fight. Because Medusa, without the 15 charges on the magic one, was dead. And then the fight was completely different. But he just baits them. He understands that they're gonna go for him, so he plays really aggressive, and then he just completely turns the fight. Awesome play from him. He needs to be looked for that magic one usage. It's a classic Kuroki style.
Boba is going to be spied out here by Fly, but there is a response. RP goes down, but Korok is here. Possibly could turn this fight, but not enough. They burst down one. Snake King comes in, gets a double Chronosphere, and the cast going out as well as the Chain Frost. Bouncing pinball going around, and 2 are going to fall from the side of Team Secret. Big Daddy, oh, the time lock proc from Snake King. That's some RNG if you ever seen it right there. 3rd kill goes the way of Navi US, and a glimmer of hope for them possibly after such a bad previous team fight.
Yeah, they needed that. That's actually really good. Getting 3 kills and a mega kill track from Fly, from Simba, that actually went to... it was actually Magnus mega kill tracks, right? Not Simba's. So really, really good turnaround for Navi US. They need that, but it's actually not enough. They need more than this to come back.
Yeah,
when they don't have Chrono, they have nothing to fight.
Right, and that just means that Kuro here in the bottom lane is feeling so secure. Going for a tier 2, 15.5 minutes in. This early, he's pushing down towers pretty much solo.
And he has no tank items. He has only a Yasha, so just imagine when he has Mental Style, Lincoln Sphere, whatever he wants to get. It's going to be so hard for them to deal with that Medusa. They have no answer so far.
And speaking of that, do you just go, do you avoid the Lincolns this game for fear of it just really not doing enough? I mean, the targeted damage that you're talking about, the targeted spells are like Cask or Chain Frost, which are abilities that obviously can be thrown on others and still affect the Medusa.
Definitely.
Do you just avoid the Lincolns entirely, go straight for the Manta?
I think he can afford himself to do it, so really, he doesn't need it that game at all. Anyway, it's going to be about him tanking in the Chrono, and the Lincoln Sphere is not going to bring that much.
Oh, he wants this tower. Him and Bulba are fighting over it. The stun comes out. Tower left with 1 hit. Nicely played by Fogged. But it's still another tower. 16 minutes in, a tier 2 falling. Not what you want to see if you're a Navi US fan.
A bit of a misplay from No-Tail on that move. I mean, Kuroki was going for it because he knew he had the Fisher to back him up, to stun the Witch Doctor or whoever wanted to deny the tower before they do so. It was a bit late, so maybe miscommunication with the positioning, but anyway, they are getting all the towers. They got 4 towers, 3 tier 1s, 1 tier 2, whereas Navi US had no towers to their name. So that's actually huge for Team Secret. They're gonna have so much space on the map to farm up, to just map control. It's gonna be a nightmare for Navi US because they have only 1 hero that can gank right now. Effectively, is the face support.
Yeah, the nightmare is looking even worse now as Simba is able to pick up a Bloodstone 17 minutes into this game, and considering the large number of kills that Team Secret have been able to pick up so far, this could be a very, very stacked Bloodstone that allows Timbersaw. I mean, you're talking about Chakram and being able to allow, with the Keeper of the Light, this infinite turtle capacity where you just spam out from long range all these waves that get pushed in, and then you could just heal him right back up with the mana. He may not even need that mana ever from Puppy now that he's got this Bloodstone and the potential increase of charges for him.
Definitely, and they almost have the Blink Dagger on No-Tail, Big Daddy, sorry. They almost have the mech on Puppy. I mean, they are about to shine.
Snake King gets caught by the RP. Chakram comes in. Do they have enough to be able to burst him down? They do. Just enough, as the backtrack level 1 just isn't enough.
That damage.
That long range burst damage, man.
So it's a Helm of Dominator for Kuroki. Probably he's gonna farm the Ancients. He's going full grid mode. So they are actually not looking to end the game pretty fast, which is completely okay versus Witch Doctor, Titan. You don't want to go uphill versus this unless you have really lots of items to tank up. And that's not the case yet. They need more time.
Right. Medusa kind of been in that position for so long where it's like, all right, guys, we have a Medusa. Let's go ahead, give her some space for 70 minutes, and then she'll come into the game and wreck face. And it's still kind of that way, of course, with the buffs that she's received. She's a little bit more aggressive, and especially in conjunction with the, top lane. Hold on. Simba's going to be taken with the Faceless Void. He's going to be able to pop at least one here, and they're going to move farther to the left, but the rest of the allies are already out still, though. The Timbersaw not going to be down and out for long, and the Chronosphere is down. They can easily just defend this tier 1 tower. So while they did get a pick off, and a pretty decent one at that, they're not going to gain anything else out of it.
Yeah, because the Timbersaw was already back, because of the Bloodstone, and they just can't push towers. It's impossible. Even if they kill one guy, it doesn't matter. Because of the 4 others, they can always defend towers, especially because Navi US has close to no pushing potential at all. They have, there is no hero on their lineup that can actually push tower effectively. So the map control is all for Team Secret in this game. And you don't want to be in Navi US position right now. It's a really tough one.
Yeah, 19 minutes in, we're looking at basically an 8,000 gold lead right now, at about a 5,000 experience lead, where Team Secret are controlling so much of the map as well. It's not only just that, but the fact that they have this really strong late game carry that is being able to farm up the enemy jungle right now, has had total free farm wherever he goes, and is completely uninterrupted. We had the one attempt from Navi US that was so close to killing him, and even that wasn't enough.
It really wasn't. I don't think it's gonna ever be enough. They need the full spells on the Medusa, but what about if Carl gets a pipe? What about, they need so much damage output. I was really looking forward to that Void Diffusal and Mental side. I don't think it's gonna happen because he's severely underfarmed just because of the rotation from Puppy and No Tail, Big Daddy on the off lane. They put so much emphasis on that, their off lane, Team Secret. It paid off. It really paid off. So really nice game understanding from them.
All right, so let's talk about a couple of these items here. I want to first talk about Fog's choice of the Ogre Club. Do you think this is actually a game? Going up against Team Secret, they have that long-range stun from the Earthshaker. Does he need a BKB in order to get a reliable death ward, or does he go all in on the Aghanims and just hope for mass out damage?
It has to be an Aghanims. He needs to deal damage because he's the only damage tier right now. Right. He needs an Aghanims. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be a BKB. BKB is not going to do much here. He's going to be bursted anyway.
Yeah, sure, he has the insured death ward that he can lay down for a lot of time, but it's just not going to be enough, not when Team Secret are so damn farmed. And you can see the rotation here to the bottom lane, but it doesn't look like they're going to be finding much as Navi US are playing very, very defensively the last few minutes. Everybody kind of farming up their own jungles, staying close by, so if there is a smoke gank, at least they can go ahead and rotate in and possibly make a fight out of it. Blink Dagger now being picked up by the Timbersaw, another great item. And after this, I don't know, Seth, what do you think? Aghanims?
I think it's a really good item to get, although getting something like a BKB, obviously they have the Chrono, right? But besides the Chrono, they have nothing. I would like to see a BKB to fight. Okay. So they don't need Aghanims in that game, in my opinion, although it's a really cool item to get. I think BKB is a really good option. And I love what Secret is doing. They're just forcing them to defend because Medusa, everybody says Medusa is the best late gamer, but I know they force a rabbit.
Look at that push, actually pushed him onto the other side of the fissure. That was beautiful.
No buyback.
And Team Secret may just continue going in for the push here. Kuro with all that extra damage. Look at him, he's hitting for 200 damage a hit. This is just, how do you fight up against this when the tower is taking so much chip damage, and you know that if you try and initiate onto Kuro, not only is he so damn tanky, but you have the rest of Team Secret who are able to return fire with all these extra defensive boosts, whether it's the Fissure, whether it's the Illuminate Blast, or even just the whole entire Timbersaw combo, which can potentially burst down your cores. Snake King still doesn't have anything, and he's not going to have a BKB for a very long time if he chooses to go that route. He's trying to go for more damage and more farming with that Maelstrom, and he does have it now, but it still leaves him so exposed in every one of these team fights.
This is a classic Puppy call. That's how smart that player is. They force them back to their base. They force them to defend. So they all TP bottom. They get a pick off. Okay, now they're gonna get escape again. This is huge.
Yep. Skewer is able to finish him off. Timbersaw gets another Bloodstone charge for himself, and another push to this bottom lane where they will force Navi US back. And even if they don't actually take the tower, as you said, they're forcing him back to.
They don't want to. They just want to force them back to the base and then TP on the other lane, so they don't farm their lanes. That is Navi US when the lanes are out pushing. So they're just passively out farming them. So they wait. They're gonna sit till the lanes are out, like the top lane and the mid lane are actually out pushing, and then we're gonna see Timbersaw TPing, Magnus TPing, or whoever wants to, and then farm this and come back. So it's just passive out farm, and it's very, very effective, especially because they have the recall, so they can always take a fight if Navi US plays it right and just smoke around.
Right, and they like the push here in this top lane where Korok is refusing to come back into base until Face's Void is back up.
It's the right decision. He doesn't, even if Void is back, he understands their. Look at Kuro now. He's gonna go back, farm the whole lane, and they stay here.
Right.
And they lock Navi US lineup. You can see the difference in the goal. I mean, there was no fight, there was nothing. It's just skyrocketing for Team Secret. It's just how they play. They just force them to be stuck in their base the whole game.
Yeah, and you can see that in the gold graph too, where it's just even when we're not having so many team fights, it's still constantly the net worth is rising for Team Secret, where it's on Navi's side. It really seems to be stalling out. Now we have to straight up Scotty for Kuro. So forget about Manta, forget about anything else. Now has an amazing amount of stats. I mean, this guy is sitting at 1,800 health with 1,277 mana. With that 60% tick of the mana shield, it's just insane.
Yeah,
like
Scotty
he
is one
cannot
of the
die.
best tanky items on Medusa, and they might be looking to end the game right now. I mean, I think they have what it takes to end it. He's going for Naganims on the Timbersaw. He's not even there. That's what I love about them. They understand the damage output they can deal and how tanky they are. So they know they don't need the Timbersaw. I mean, it's a LAN event. It's a really big one. So obviously you want to 5-on-5, have the best chances. They don't care. They know they are very experienced players, and they are just abusing their map advantage and the positioning to out-farm their opponent, which is really smart.
Can't say I've ever seen that one. The pull of the recall working with the Timber Chain. Much like when you have the instant respawn from the Bloodstone, you're able to go across the map. Timbersaw can apparently do the same thing with the recall. Now, Fogged is going to be slowed down by this guy. Look at Kuro, he's just like keeps on going. Because how do they stop this? They slow him down with the Gush. They can't just ravage him. It's him solo, but he's so far forward. He knows, like, he's tanky enough, he can deal with it. He can survive for a good 5 seconds easily, and his team will respond.
So look at their positioning. They have the Medusa, right? And the Magnus behind. And if they jump on the Magnus, that's what they need to do, not jump on the Medusa. They have the Shaker even behind, further behind.
There it is, the skewer, the long-range initiation. Chronosphere, oh no, snaking. Oh, doesn't get anything there. Korok looks like he's going to be the first target. Wolf actually gets held in by the Medusa, and now the Ravage goes off, but it's way too late. Fog can maybe hope for one kill, but not even that, as Big Daddy stops him with the Fisher, and now Fog trying to get away. He's not going to make it either. And Navi US looking like this first game going quite sour for them, and there it is, the GG call. Team Secret just steamrolling through Navi US in this first match.
Yeah, I want to say it was an easy one, but it looked like it. Really great picks, great early game rotations, and great game understanding. They had a better plan. They used it better. Just outplayed, outdrafted. Easy one for Secret.
Absolutely, Navi US, their team, I mean, they've got the home team advantage. I've heard we're all the way in the back here, and I could hear those USA chants, and so hopefully the crowd will be able to give them some sort of buff of morale here, because they're going to need it after that game one. Yeah. That was incredibly rough. Team Secret, though, showing that they're not just a team that is coming to the online section and just done really well through against all these other teams. They showed that with the experience that they have on this team, they are easily able to deal with the LAN environments as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. Looking forward to see how they can match up versus stronger teams, or even versus Navi US if they manage to bounce back. So Navi US will have to come up with a better plan for the second game, that's for sure.
Absolutely, man. Well, it looks like it is about that time to bounce back to a commercial, man. So we are going to be taking a break. Stick around, those guys. Game number 2 is coming up next.
When you get a Honda Accord or Accord Hybrid, you get more.
But that felt like it was kind of very much inside the box.
Yeah, this was some of the most standardized lineups we've seen. I mean, all the heroes were something you could expect to be picked up. They all complemented each other in various levels. It's very straightforward what lanes they're going to do as well and how they execute their strategy. Whereas I don't think Na'Vi US even anticipated Secret being that aggressive.
I mean, I saw one comment. I know he shouldn't remain nameless because it was mildly funny. He said this wasn't so much rat Dota as mouse Dota. I don't quite know what he meant by that, but maybe rats are better than mouse. I don't know. Weird?
Or mouse Dota?
Yeah, mouse Dota. Well, maybe, but
I have no idea.
Wouldn't he have said dog Dota?
I don't get it.
No, I just thought you guys were being more experienced than I am. I thought maybe you could shed some light on this.
Complete predator. They just ate him alive.
I think
Monster Dota.
What Na'Vi US might need to do now is, I would say, put Korg on an initiator hero. Play more aggressively yourselves. Maybe even ban the Earthshaker in the first phase and give them the IO. Like
they have to target one person with the bans. They can't ban a couple of no-tail heroes, a couple of like Kuro heroes.
I mean, it doesn't make sense to ban anything that Kurogi might play.
Yes,
I think you should just ban heroes you don't want to have to face. Like, not because they're good with them, but because the heroes themselves is something you don't want
I feel like Wisp Earthshaker would be a great start.
Yes.
Just completely ignore banning, agility heroes or even Skywrath Mage. It's like, well, regardless of what we're going to give them, this hero in itself isn't really the worst, but if we give them Earthshaker and Wisp, we at least know that these are heroes that they really are comfortable playing.
Yeah.
So this is something they should avoid.
This wasn't even a trademark aggressive lineup that Secret were running, right? So let's imagine they run an aggressive lineup. I think if Na'Vi US play on the back foot and they sit back and wait, then Secret are going to come to them and run them over. So they have to take the initiative themselves. And I don't see Na'Vi US doing that with a hero like Razor mid. I think you need to look for Koroks, Storm, or Puck, or something like that.
Is there anything they could have done better that game?
Skill backtrack?
Other than that,
no, I mean, put your faith in your luck would have been great for the Faceless Void.
He got a really good bash.
Yeah, no, he got some good bashes, but he could have potentially survived more through backtrack.
Why don't they just pick all skill-based heroes or luck-based heroes?
Ogre Void lane.
Ogre Void, Troll.
No, but I think the key here is Terrorblade or Siren.
I was going to talk to you about Terrorblade because we haven't seen him. Well,
he wasn't banned, right?
He wasn't picked or banned in that last one. And funnily enough, it seems to be that he's either first picked or banned, like up front, or he's ignored completely. Why is that? Is that just team? I mean, Cloud9.
I mean, it's just like Razor. Razor was last pick in Game 3, and he's very often first ban.
I think Terrorblade is just near impossible to deal with. Once he gets at this certain point, he's very easy to deal with in the early stages of the game. But even
you can say that about like Naga too.
Yeah. Medusa crushes Terrorblade, though, right?
Yeah, but Terrorblade needs a lot less to be efficient compared to the Siren. It's not like Siren's going to push down your tower just by having one Wraith Band. Whereas Terrorblade is at level 5 is just going to go up and be like, oh yeah, I have a Wraith Band, let me take your tower. So, I mean, there's a vast difference in when they get online.
Hi Tower, I'd like to cut you down. Brilliant. Okay, we are into the draft for Game 2 of Team Secret versus Na'Vi US. Plenty of support from them, from the crowd in the first game. They're going to need it in the second one as well. I'm sure the crowd are going to get right behind them. And bans are very similar.
That was an interesting
to Game 1.
Yeah.
They should ban Earthshaker. It sets up so much. It sets up so much. Not just interrupting stuff, but you can pen people in. It sets up other spells.
No-tail's just too good with it.
Yeah, and he's awesome with it. I mean,
that's we said about the IO, the Wisp pick in the first game. That's gone again. So
5 seconds.
And he's played those
respect is
specific
high
heroes so much. I don't actually know what he's going to play if they don't have it.
Just force No-tail to play Sand King.
Five bans on No-tail.
Alchemist support. Some good memories.
But Na'Vi US also needs to ban a Panda for S4. I guess S4 can really play anything too.
Yeah,
I think you, like Pyrian said earlier on, I think you just probably ignore him, don't you? I mean, he's going to pick what he wants and he's going to play well on whatever he wants. I mean,
it's unfortunate.
You've only got the 5 bans, you can't ban everything.
Why do you even bother banning?
Yeah, so you know what? Skip it. Let's just move on. It's much faster.
just leave it random ban. Just say we're random in it.
Random ban?
They should go super cheese and just put Terrorblade mid or Siren mid and then Terrorblade safe lane and just be like,
That's not a bad strat.
it's not like an Asus Prophet on the off lane and you just...
Wow, that's really good.
I've played against this in the pub and it was the worst.
Oh yeah, Death Prophet good stuff.
Yeah, that was a round 2. No, it was the first round ban last time, I believe.
Yeah, I think they banned the same. Instead of Enigma, it was
Death Prophet.
Instead of Centaur, it was Death Prophet.
Yeah.
So, well, you have to imagine that they want to get the brew themselves then, if they do this trade. Or
they're forcing it onto the other team, maybe?
That's a good Korok hero, by the way, the Brewmaster. I like that
That's a
a lot.
solid brew race,
Plays it
definitely.
Fogt was punching the air there.
Yes, we got
brew!
Brew Razor, yeah!
Did he really?
Yeah, he did. He went like that. He just punched the air.
Okay.
I think though, Death Prophet, like, if Secret do get a hit a lot, that's probably the hero you don't want to have them.
I mean, they lost in like 25 minutes versus Medusa, so it doesn't really matter.
Well, I guess. Death Prophet is just like, it's gonna take your towers down.
Yes.
Here comes the Shaker.
Reserve time.
Has to be.
Shaker's really good with Death Prophet as well.
There it is.
There's so good synergy between those two.
Surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's trouble.
I'm not sure why they banned the Enigma. That was available the entirety of the last draft, and they didn't go for it on the side of Secret. Now they ban it out in the first phase instead of the Shaker that
they know is gonna.
That they know ruined their first.
They can go for Clockwork though. Clockwork is good versus Death Prophet and very good versus Shaker too.
Yeah, so when he has Blade Mail, he's good.
I think it's good anyways. Like you can at least lock her in place. She needs mobility. If
The
she can't
Enigma
move
ban
around,
is fine, keeping in mind who's playing on Team Secret. I think the most noteworthy ban is definitely the Centaur Wall Run. I don't know what the motivation behind that is.
No.
Just as a side issue, while we're waiting for this next ban to come in, any doubts we might have had about Team Secret being a little bit nervous and worried about being on that?
they're against a weak team.
I don't think
I never thought they would be nervous.
I mean, I didn't either with the experience that they've got, but I mean, Melt made a really good point about chemistry, and it's first time they've come and put, as Malini said, it's the first time they've been put under pressure.
No, as Ben also said, as long as you're not evenly matched, it's not a problem. You can still go on your your self-confidence, your cockiness. As soon as they match up against a team where they're like, okay, these guys are good, I really gotta bring my A game.
But that's why it's good to get this game.
If they,
because then they don't have to worry about those nerves. They're comfortable. They know the arena.
As we talked about earlier, it's a single elimination tournament. So if nerves does get the better of them, it might not pay off as well against teams like Evil Geniuses, VG Gaming.
Sure, but even if they were minutely nervous, we'd have seen something in that first game and really see anything.
I were them. I wouldn't be that nervous for some US.
No. This is another weird ban, by the way. They banned the Wraith King out of nowhere, right? That was also ignored in game 1.
Yep.
And it doesn't seem like
Coddle ban on the other side, though.
They've done some weird Roshan strats with Wraith King, but it's not really relevant.
It's a new version as well.
Yeah. I don't know.
And Secret of Dire, too.
Yeah, I don't really
So
see
they're really close to
it being... I mean, I'm sure Puppy knows what he's doing, but we don't know.
There's been 2 bans so far that don't necessarily make too much sense from our perspective, but I think the next phase is going to show why they banned out. They have a very specific.
This is why I want Brain Cam.
That sounds tricky to implement.
Yeah, it's coming, but it
would be nice.
We're a few millenniums away from it.
I mean,
what would be
the ET ban, it makes sense. Like the Wraith King ban makes no sense to me at all. The Centaur, I could see you remove a really potent offlaner. The same with the ET. We know Bulba plays a great ET, but
does Wraith King's helm have horns? Because then he's banned like 3 heroes looking to the right with horns in the helmet.
I see.
It's like Kuroki is he got famous for starting. I don't think he did it in competitive games, but back when in-house games were actually like the replays were uploaded to.
So you think Riggy is coming up next?
It's like it could be. He started banning like red heroes and blue heroes and
I remember
themed
this.
lineups and stuff.
So Bobby doesn't like horny heroes.
I was going to say, regarding the brain cam, what would be interesting is if you could get the captain to record their thoughts while they're drafting. You don't get to see their thoughts or hear them until after the match, but they could talk through exactly why they banned stuff.
They picked up on it. They banned clips for them.